Ladies and gentlecars, welcome to the DTM Esports 2022. My name is Luke Crane, aka Actual Vision. I'm joined by Connery Maddock. Connery, how you feeling today, buddy? Are you excited for this one?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I can't help but be excited when it comes to DTM Esports. These races do tend to deliver, and hopefully we'll get to see it again here at the Lausitzring this time around, another circuit in Germany. After all, it is a German series, so that's not entirely surprising. But certainly one that is unique in many ways.
Yeah, it's been really interesting over the last couple of weeks, or the last month, should I say. We've had the qualifying phase, and then we've had rounds 1, 2, 3, and 4 happen previously. Last time out, we were at the Lausitzring, and it's been the Kevin Siggy show. A couple of mistakes here and there, but out of everybody, he's been super consistent from start to finish, really, of this competition. Are you expecting a little bit of the same here, or maybe a couple of surprises?
Well, we are getting to that point in the season now. We're getting towards the halfway stage of things, so I would have thought his closest competitors will really try and start stepping up to the plate at this point in the season. They might have realized that maybe the first 2 rounds didn't exactly go their way, full-on effort coming into these middle rounds of the season to try and set themselves up for a championship run at the very end. Like you said, though, Siggy has been, not quite perfect, but pretty much over the course of this season so far. He'll be a very difficult driver to beat. Looking at practice times in the session right now, Moritz Lohner, Florian Hasse, both up there in practice times at the moment. So let's see if that carries on over into qualifying. But for now, you'd be pretty confident putting your guess on Siggy.
Yeah, 100%. Well, again, we've just spoken about some of the rounds we've already had and where we are at today in the Lausitzring. But let's check out the calendar of the full season. As you can see here, we've already been to Imola. We've already been to the Lausitzring. Now we head to the Lausitzring. It's the turn 1 oval as well. So from the final corner down in towards turn number 2, it is flat out with a little bit of a let off through the gas of turn number 1. But it is fast. It is frantic. It's going to be super exciting. 2 races for you today. We've got a 15-minute sprint race and then a full 1-hour feature race, which will indeed include a mandatory pit stop. We head to Spa-Francorchamps on the 10th of April, which is this coming Sunday. We've then got Red Bull Ring on the 21st of April, and then we head to Portimao for round 6 on the 28th of April. Let's check out today's format then as well, so you guys know exactly what to be expecting for the rest of the today. Free practice has already begun. Stream start. We know the stream started. You can hear us. If you don't know that, then, well, my bad. Qualifying is 10 minutes long for the first race, and then we do have that sprint race, which is 15 minutes. It will be a rolling start. No mandatory pit stop to deal with in that race. It is just about getting to the checkered flag as fast as you possibly can. And then we've got qualifying 2, which is 10 minutes long as well, and then an endurance race, which is 60 minutes in itself as well. But the pit window will open after 15 minutes, and the pit window will close with 15 minutes to go. So every driver has to come in and change their tyres at a minimum. So yeah, super exciting. We were just speaking about it being the Kevin Siggy show, but let's check out the standings of said championship then. And well, it is Kevin Siggy, right? But there are 2 prizes effectively on offer here. You want to become the DTM Esports Champion 2022. Of course, Moritz Lohner being the current champion. But not only is there that prize, the top 5 will go to a sighting event this year on the DTM calendar, and they will be judged and who will be the best candidate to win the prize, which is a fully paid season in the DTM Trophy 2023. That excites me. For one reason, I commentate on the series, so I'm going to get to commentate on one of these drivers in real life next year, which is absolutely exceptional. But yeah, as much as Kevin Siggy is being very much the driver to beat, Ottaviani and Fiducci getting amongst the business, getting their business done very quietly, really, and they currently find themselves in P2 and P3. 3 huge esports teams named there of Team Redline, RAG Esports, and Team Fordzilla. We've then got another RAG driver of Christopher Hugveld, who's currently in P4. Actually a race winner last time out as well because of a mistake from Kevin Siggy. Moritz Lohner then had a terrible week last week and needs to bounce back here at the Lausitzring. Has the added extra of actually driving around this circuit for real. So hopefully that will help him and put him in good stead here. But he's only got a 7-point buffer from his 2 teammates. So Florian Hasse currently on 83 points for Der Esports. And then we've got Leonard Krippner, who's on 65, a little bit further back. And those 2 drivers specifically really do need to get a bit of a jump in performance and need to get a big result today to start putting that pressure on that top 5. Otherwise, it could very quickly become the top 5 after today. If for instance, the current top 5, if they just stick around in those positions and they get really good results, it could almost become very difficult for anyone to overturn that deficit. So how important is today? Midway point, Connery? you have to get something done here if you're not really quite in that top 5.
Yeah, this will be make it or break it with regards to any challenges for Siggy coming into the back end of the season, because you just simply can't let a driver of his caliber get away at the front of the field by over 50 points. At this stage, and if that extends coming into the next round of the season, I think for most of the drivers, you could pretty much say goodbye to the championship, because unless there's a huge issue with Siggy, he has a pretty terrible weekend, finishes outside the points for both the races, you're not really going to get yourself in a position where you're going to be able to go for that championship. And of course, like you said, you need to finish in the top couple positions to even get that chance of then having the chance of qualifying into the and getting the real life drive. However, winning the championship, that's got to be a huge boost to your chances of actually getting that prize in the end, right?
Yeah, 100. You'd like to think so, right? Yeah. Surely that's that's the first thing you got to do to even give yourself an opportunity. Well, talking to superstars, Kevin Siggy is an absolute superstar of this championship. If you head to the DTM website right now, there is an in-depth interview with Siggy as well. And yeah, it is a very, very cool read. The guy knows what he's doing when it comes to sim racing, and actually has driven a real car as well in racing terms. Anyway, talking of more sim racing superstars, we've got a track guide here from Marcel Kiefer, a Red Bull Racing Esports driver. He actually did commentate the MediaMarkt wildcard event earlier on this season for the DTM Esports, but now he's back to where he really should belong, because he's not going to be commentating anymore. Don't take my job. Behind the wheel, and he's going around the Lausitzring for us.
All right, and here we go. Coming out of the final corner, opening the steering wheel flat out. My name is Marcel Kiefer. Welcome to a hot lap and track guide around the Lausitzring, where the competitors will fight tonight in the DTM Esports competition for the victory. And approaching turn 1, lifting a bit, keeping it in 6th gear, and flat out again. Getting close to the wall on the exit, don't touch it, but use all the track. And now we're looking into the best overtaking opportunity. The first braking zone, braking at the 150 meter board. Heavy braking, down to 3rd gear. Getting close to the curb. Now for the right-hander, 2nd gear. And now a late apex, early apex, leading into a late 2nd apex. With early on the power, using all the track on the exit to carry as much momentum as we can. For the next corner, we are looking at the 50 meter board, sending it in, letting the car roll a bit, aiming for another late apex. Early on the power to use all the track on the exit. All the AstroTurf is fully valid within the track limits. Now heavy braking at the grass, down to 2nd gear, and also rotate the car on the throttle, flat out for the right-hander, leading into a hairpin chicane, a right-hander in 2nd gear, then the left-hander also in 2nd, and now preparing for the exit, delaying the throttle, and now full throttle until the end, staying close at the inside of the pit wall to complete your flying lap around the Lausitzring. I'm excited what's gonna happen tonight. I hope you are too. Let's go racing.
Marcel, what a guy. Believe it or not, he's got quite a deep voice, but as soon as he gets behind the wheel, it's like he's taken loads of helium on board. Well, that is not ideal, what we're seeing on screen. Now, that is a Team Fordzilla car in the wall. So yeah, not a good start, as we've got, 16 seconds left of practice. So it doesn't matter. We're not quite in qualifying as of yet, but yes, we have got indeed 10 minutes left of qualification before we head, 10 minutes of qualification coming up for you before we head into our 15-minute timed race. Are we going to see the Ferraris dominate once again today, Connery, or do you feel like there's going to be a difference of the guard, or a change of the guard? I genuinely, because of the BMW straight line speed, I feel like that's going to be the stronger car. So if you can get a move done in the first sector, lap 1, you're in a good spot. But that final sector is very, very tight and twisty.
Yeah, it's Lausitzring is really a circuit of 2 halves in a way. Well, not exactly 2 halves in terms of the actual layout, but of course the you want that straight line speed for the multitude of medium-length straights that we have. But then again, we have some quite slow complexes where the mechanical grip of the Ferrari is going to be a little bit more beneficial. But we've got the start of qualifying here as those cars swarm their way out of pit lane and do their whole sort of no after you, no after you, no after you situation to try and find themselves a bit of space to get their laps in.
Yeah, well, it's yeah, they need to figure it out pretty quickly, because ultimately, if you're too close to another driver, you're just going to slow each other down. But the driver that is leading the championship is leading the whole field. He's actually got Manu Rodriguez, who's yet to score a point so far this season. Is Manu? He's currently there, just in behind in that Porsche, the sole Porsche on the grid. Good to see the Porsche do well today. Manu Rodriguez is actually currently second in the Alpine Esports time trial leaderboard. So he is absolutely up there on multiple different titles, but on Race Room today is where he needs to be on it. And he is staying as close to Siggy as possible, because he knows if he can put a time similar to Siggy, he's going to be right in and amongst it, right at the top end. And that is where you're going to score the points, that's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the task coming into this one, that's for sure. But for Siggy, he certainly was pretty eager to get himself out there, well, head of the train, like you said, so no one to interfere with his lap time in terms of getting blocked, but it does mean that he does not have any slipstream, especially coming through this final corner and down that straight towards turn number 1. Of course, Lausitzring, pretty unique, considering that, well, it's got an oval, hasn't it? And that's pretty rare as far as European racing is concerned. Of course, we're not using the oval here today, or rather, we are technically using what is technically 2 corners of it, stretch. As, oh, someone's had a big
oh, dear. Yeah, Manu's tried to go flat out through turn number 1 there, and you just can't. You just cannot. You've got to let off ever so slightly just to bury the nose into the apex there. And Siggy now will be thinking, that's good. I'm not dragging anyone along with me now. I am good to go. Right, to all of you out there who would potentially like to race the DTM 2021 cars, and you might not already have it, if you head to Twitter right now and just tweet out at DTM and at Race Room, your favorite ever DTM driver, or maybe favorite ever car, send us an image. It could be anything. Favorite sim racer, who knows? But you need to use the hashtag #WeLoveDTM. I'm going to be giving away 3 codes for the DTM 2021 pack, courtesy of Race Room. So yeah, Race Room have just handed me 3 codes to give away. So yeah, all you need to do is you make sure that you use the hashtag #WeLoveDTM. Send a picture of your favorite ever DTM car. Maybe your favorite driver, I don't know. It could be anything. It could be your favorite tree you've ever seen at a race circuit during DTM. I'm not that worried about it. But use the hashtag #WeLoveDTM, and I'll be picking 3 winners during the broadcast. You know, it could be anytime. Let's say we'll do 1 at the end of race 1, and then we'll do 1 just before race 2, and then 1 at the end of race 2. So there you go. If you want to win yourself that, hashtag #WeLoveDTM. Nice. There we go. Right. So Siggy puts the first lap time in, straight into the pits here. That says to me that the tyres go off very, very quickly as Pring has just gone into, well, went into momentarily second spot. It is just so close up there. Moritz Lerner is now second. Hasser is up to first position. Siggy only down in 4th. I had a little bit of an inkling that the BMW might put on a bit of a show today. And as it stands, it absolutely is.
Yeah, it seems to be the case. Top 3 spots occupied all by BMWs, then followed by the 2 Ferraris down to P5. Here's Marco Pejic heading his way across the line now to set his provisional banker time, shall we say. P18 for the moment in the AMG Mercedes. And, well, first flurry of time successfully through. Those that did not set times, Christopher Högfeldt, certainly one of the more notable amongst all the drivers that weren't able to get their first effort in. Of course, it's, I would argue, honestly, get your first lap time on the board no matter what it is, because then you have something to build off of for the rest of the session, and you don't have to panic about potentially starting at the very back of the starting grid for the sprint race. But 22 drivers on the board, 27 total out there continuing to circulate. There's Jack Heathley, currently P7 at the moment, and, well, again, it's going to be a bit of a struggle because we haven't seen the AMG Mercedes really come to the forefront at any point over this season. However, like you said, potentially they might have something to say here at the Lausitzring.
Yeah, 100%. I want to give a big shout out here to Pinches. Siggy would have at least be expecting to be the top dog Ferrari, right? And he isn't right now. Adam Pinches, the Hungarian, there's always a Hungarian. Remember that. That's a fact. When it comes to race room competition, and actually just in the world of sim racing now, when there's a final, there's always a Hungarian. And we've got ourselves our very own here at the top. Ottaviani, currently in the top 5 of the championship, is currently 6th on the grid. We'll be expecting a little bit more, but I just feel like the grid's going to be a little bit different to what we've seen. Keithley up to P9, well, he just dropped down into P9, as Fiducci now also in the top 3 in the championship is up to P6. So still 3 BMWs at the front there as it stands then. And Lerner, who is our current champion, remember, our reigning champion, he is currently 2nd on the grid and needs a big day today if he wants to close that, because he won't be worried about the top 5. He currently races in the DTM. It would be nice for, currently races in the DTM trophy. It would be nice for him to get another opportunity, right? But on the flip side, like, he's not that worried about that. He just wants to become a 2-time DTM Esports champion, as we see the beautiful Arnage competition liveries there, both of them working together. And that's something we've not seen really that much this season so far, is teams working together in qualifying. We are absolutely seeing that today.
Yeah, and if you're part of one of these big complements, shall we say, like Door Esports, for example, you got basically 4 of their cars in the same shot there, albeit split by a bit of an imposter. But that gets well out of the way, actually. So there we go. So we've got the 4 Door Esports cars on screen. They're going to all work together in their slipstream train. Usually it's the car at the front of the train that basically sacrifices their lap time for the benefit of those cars behind. Kevin Siggy just across the line now. He goes up into P3 and disrupts the BMW domination to the front.
Yeah, beautiful there from him. You see Manu Rodriguez is on another lap time here. He's currently P24, and actually, he's sitting behind this train of esports cars. There he is, look, in that Porsche, and he's just going to back it into the pits there. Maybe he doesn't feel like that car's quite got the pace to really mix it at the sharp end, as we're on board here now with Ralf Pringer. Currently in 19th position. You can see there's a sea of German flags here, as you would expect with the DTM Esports. So we've got the MediaMarkt BMW there just in behind. It's one of our wildcard drivers. We've got 3 wildcard drivers. All of them will be in the MediaMarkt cars. That's Alex Mosen there. Moritz Lerner, who is in 2nd position in this train of cars. Who's at the front end here of this cars? Florian Hasser. So he's already got that banker time in. And I'm wondering if perhaps here it was used, like it was Hasser that used Lerner the first time round, and now they're sort of flipping it. He's already got his maximum time in. But as it stands, they are doing the perfect team job here.
Yeah, it's been pretty well put together for Door Esports here. You can see Leonard Krippner, he's 39 in that train. He went fastest through Sector 1, not a very good Sector 2 at all, 4/10 of a second off the pace. So that was a little bit of an awkward one for Krippner there. And we've also got, who's that there? Michael Rashel. I was wondering who the 4th Door Esports car was. And it's Michael Rashel down in P number 9 that currently has 2 personal best sectors on this lap. He's going to gain the most benefit out of all this slipstream situation, being at the very back of the pack. Maybe a little bit of a reshuffle to try and reorganize themselves for the very end of the session here. So Rashel heading his way across the line. Let's see how high he can climb up the starting order. He's still P9, so again, not an ideal lap for him. But just having a look, see where, let's see where Siggy is. Well, personal best Sector 1, still though, almost 2/10 of a second off of Florian Hasser's provisional pole sitting time at the moment. That's how much the draft helps you here, especially down in towards turn number 1 as we do take that first oval turn, so you don't even have to lift.
No, but I think that they've all reached their maximum here. I don't think it's possible to improve at this stage of qualifying. So Siggy here, I think, is maximum's 3rd as it stands. Hugvelt's already into the pits. Pinches then is in 6th position. We've then got Ottaviani's only going to be P8 for Ottaviani as it stands. I will just quickly mention the championship order. Siggy leads the way currently by 53 points, a huge advantage to Ottaviani. Ottaviani only P8. Fiducci then is currently down in P7, and then now they've just been shifted down 1 position each. So Fiducci 8th and Ottaviani 9th, because Jack Keithley has just got to put it up into a top 5 in the AMG. 3 different manufacturers here fighting at the front end, which is good to see. Christopher Hugveld, who is a race winner, he's currently 6th position, so not the worst thing here in the world. Moritz Lerner currently is in 2nd spot, and we are just about getting the results here. They are going to come across the line, so I'm not going to read out the results as it stands until this group of 3 here crosses the line. And then we will see exactly as to whether that changes here. But as it stands, it is Florian Hasser. Krippner's moved up into P3. He pushes Siggy down into P4. We've then got Max Pfeiffer, who's moved up into P7. Hugvelt's dropped down to P8. Rashel is moved up into P6. So the starting grid is going to be Florian Hasser on pole. Moritz Lerner in second. Leonard Krippner is going to be in third position. Kevin Siggy in fourth spot. Jack Keithley is in fifth. Gianmarco Fiducci in sixth position. We've then got Michael Rashford in seventh spot. Max Pfeiffer is in eighth position. Christopher Hugveld is in ninth position, and then Adam Pinches, like I say, there is always a Hungarian. In 11th spot then is Alessandro Ottaviani. Petr Pliska is in 12th spot. Alexander Dorniden is in 13th, and then we just about saw Isaac Price there, probably sporting his beautiful leather jacket. Well, there we go. Connery, a few surprises there, to be honest. I know Esports are expected to be up the sharp end. They worked together, and it was very effective.
Yeah, that worked out really, really well, didn't it, for Esports? I mean, there is strength in numbers when a qualifying session's like that at a circuit where the draft is so prevalent, but to be able to convert that to a, well, P1 through 3 on the starting grids, that's great work there from Esports. And, well, you got to take every single advantage that you can get. It's not forbidden in the rules that you can't slingshot with your teammates, so you know, you gotta take it, and they indeed have grasped it with both hands. So Siggy, though, still, even though he has basically no friends out there, barely no mates probably, he was still able to put in a good enough time in clear air, no draft, to start P4. that is pretty incredible, honestly.
Yeah, very much so. Right, again, if you guys would like to win yourself the DTM 2021 pack on Race Room, head over to Twitter, use the hashtag #WeLoveDTM, and just tweet your favorite driver, a picture of your favorite driver, your favorite sim racer, I don't know, your favorite car ever in DTM. It could be your favorite ever gravel trap. Again, doesn't matter. Just use the hashtag #WeLoveDTM. Right now, Shane Johnson Dag is used a moment that I commentated on, and that you can't. That's cheating. It's cheating that you've done that. But yeah, he's got involved there. We've got Don Viper as well as Saline, who have all got involved so far. So get yourselves on Twitter, hashtag #WeLoveDTM. We're going to be back for race number 1 after this very short commercial break. It is a sprint race. It is round 3 of the DTM Esports 2022. Kevin Siggy in that red car on the right side does take us away here. And it's a great start for the Ferrari driver. He's got to defend that inside line, though, and just make sure he's in the lead going up towards the first chicane. 2 R8G cars then trying to go around the outside of the Fordzilla. There's an Arnage car. That's Pinches, isn't it? The number 97 trying to make a move, trying to pinch a move up the inside. Car may have a little bit, but on a race room, it's not the strongest of things. Fiducci then has that inside line, which means he should hold on to the position. Runs out a little bit too far wide ahead of you.
Oh, so, Siggy!
Siggy's binned it. That's got to be on his own here. He was 3 seconds in the lead, and he has made a huge mistake here then. So the lead now goes to Hugveld. His chances with 5 minutes remaining of this race to go out there and win it, as he makes a lunge up the inside then of Pinches. It wasn't a case of, yeah, he just ran wide there. He made a mistake, which is giving Siggy the podium position. Sit of that final hairpin. We've got a great look here at Kevin Siggy. Siggy's surely going to make a dive. He does. He makes it side by side here. And is he going to run out too far off the apex? Well, there's contact then between Ottaviani and Fiducci. Siggy does get up to P2. He was not involved in that incident whatsoever. He set it up perfectly well. But the day belongs to Hugveld. The Swede takes the victory here for R8G. It's Siggy that takes second spot. And that is damage limitation, considering he was leading by 3 seconds. Kevin Siggy for Team Redline takes us away here at the Lausitzring. 1 hour's worth of racing, 1 pit stop they have to serve, and we are green light racing, baby. And it's another fantastic start here then from Siggy as we head up towards turn number 1. Expected to be a bit of a car park in towards turn number 1. Some late dives potentially up the inside. Yes, there absolutely was. I think that was Naji.
As the dives get sent in from behind. Jack Keithley, no! Jack Keithley gets tagged from behind.
Cool livery to look at, that's for sure. And there's Wana, who's gone for a fake maneuver around the outside and then opens something up the inside, hits the apex nicely. Oh, it initially hit the apex nicely.
Pit straight due to the suboptimal line coming off the corner, and Bodin just gets out of the way because here comes Moritz Lerner. Is this 3 positions in 1 corner? Well, he's almost got 2, but that was a massive lunge. 50-50, they'll come down in pretty soon. but we are expecting to see a lot of... Oh, no! What's happened? A little bit of a tangle there.
We see some frantic action. Look at this. Crazy stuff going down here. Rashford's going to miss the apex, run wide. And I tell you what, Hookveld saying thank you very much. And now he causes the contact there with Yarshall.
Which is the category in use here in the GTM. In the DTM, not the GTM, what I'm talking about. Oh, Rashford's gone around. Oh,
all on his own. For the R8G driver of Ottaviani's, he's trying to find the inside line. It's Finucci. He has found that inside line. Can he hit the apex? He can't. That is, wow. Yeah, I don't think you need to be a motorsport specialist to realise that wasn't very good. You're forced to go around the outside every single time. This is the closest he's been. He's finally got the overlap here as well with the nose in front. And can he keep this overlap on the exit? He can, on the power nicely. Gassner almost sends him into the wall there.
He is. I think this will again be a featured battle for the end as there's another attempt from Lona. Not got the overlap this time, but he goes for the surprise move down the inside at turn number 1. Has he overcommitted to the exit of the corner though?
Someone who doesn't care about that is Kevin Siggy. The Team Redline driver crosses the line, takes his second win of the season, and undoubtedly will be the leader of the championship heading into races 5 and 6. Here we go then, 16 seconds remain before we head into race number 1. Sprint race, 15 minutes long. They do have one full formation lap to go through, and then it is all about who crosses the line first. It's as simple as that. And then the second race, it will be 10 minutes qualifying once again, and then it will be a full 1 hour feature race with a 30-minute pit window, opening at 15 minutes and closing at 45. Right, here we go, Connery. Time for your predictions then. I know I always throw you under the bus here, but you know, I'm going to predict it's going to be one of the Team Esports drivers that wins this race. But yeah, I'm going to leave it to you to give our official prediction.
That is the easiest prediction to make that we'll probably ever make, because
100%.
That Esports wall is going to be so hard to break down for anyone, even Siggy. You know, even someone as skilled as Siggy. That's
and the BMW is 17 times the size of the other cars.
Yeah, exactly, and it having all the grunt in the world in the straight line as well. So it's going to be tough. Not impossible. Nothing's really impossible by any means, apart from me driving in the real world on a racetrack. But the I find it very hard to see a non-Door Esports car win the sprint race. Of course, we have a little bit more complexity to things once we get into the 1 hour long endurance quote-unquote race where we have that pit stop strategy. But as far as the sprint race goes, yeah, I mean, something catastrophic needs to happen at the very front for a Door Esports car to win this one.
Well, I just want to make sure, I just want to see Moritz Lerner get around both races without crashing into anything, because I think I might be getting in a car with him at the Lausitzring, so in real life. So I just want to know that he can go around this circuit without, you know, hitting anything. So we'll see how it goes down. You can see he's on the left-hand side of your screen. He's got the number 1 on his car because he is the DTM Esports current champion. Siggy, championship leader, is in that red and black Ferrari. He is obviously the Team Redline driver here. Then you've got him behind him, a Williams Esports driver of Jack Keithley. Keithley is the vice champion. He came second last time out in the DTM Esports, so expect to see him in amongst it. It's the first time, in all fairness, he's qualified pretty well here. So yeah, expect a really good result from him. And then you've got the first of our Team Bordzilla cars. We've got a couple of R8G cars there. We see some of the pink of Arnage as well. So yeah, we have absolutely got, well, we can also see Tailored Rig Esports as well. There's lots of esports teams here represented, but you can see that wall of esports. That BMW is huge. There's 3 of them. Good luck, Siggy. But if anyone could do it, it's Kevin Siggy, right?
I mean, yeah, at least as far as this, the roster looks like, as far as this race goes with the entries that we have. I mean, if we can pluck other names from other parts of sim racing, potentially, but yeah, Siggy in this one would be your go-to if you're going to pick anyone else other than the esports car to win this race. I mean, Jack Keithley could be a bit of a dark horse there in P5 in the Mercedes. We haven't seen how the Mercedes is in a race trim here. I mean, we haven't seen any of the manufacturers in the race trim here today, but this is one of the first times in this series that the Mercedes has been somewhat competitive. So it'll be interesting to see what Keithley's able to do from that 5th place, but whether or not he'll be able to disrupt anything at the front still remains to be seen.
Well, luckily, we're about to see it. Shout out to Leon. Leon has just tweeted saying, after seeing the BMW M4 GT3 at the Hockenheimring yesterday with the DTM testing, we've also got Twan Vollebrecht, who has tweeted an unbelievable Audi RS5. That car is beautiful. I think it's from around about 2010 to 2012. We'll go around the final corner here. We've got Ravi, who's also tweeted a Mercedes from a very similar era. And then we've got Fabi, who's tweeted, my favourite car is this beauty. It's the Ferrari, the number 30 that we do indeed have in DTM, or had last season, which was Liam Lawson. And he's actually supporting Michael Rashford, who is in this race. It is DTM Esports 2022. It is round number 5. We're here at the Lausitzring. It's 15-minute sprint race time. It's DTM Esports locking out the front here, and we are green light racing. It's a phenomenal start then from all 3 of the BMWs at the front. But look at Siggy. Siggy is trying to go around the outside, and actually, it looks like he may have the overlap. Oh, he's done it. He's absolutely done it here. He's going to swing it in, and he is going to break up the DTM Esports party at the front of this grid. The long run then, as there's someone spinning off in the background. There's smoke all over the show here. As we got the long run down in towards turn number 2, you've got to make sure you hit your braking mark here, otherwise you will absolutely clean out multiple cars. It's like a game of bowling down there if you get it wrong. But I tell you what, the DTM Esports 3, the trio, they're absolutely holding firm here to try and keep that top 3. But Kevin Siggy there just eking a potential move there. Not quite going to work out for the BMW, although the BMW still got that overlap on the inside. Leonard Krippner still not quite able to keep hold of this P3, and I think you'll find here will be a sweep across the bonnet there. It is a sweep across the bonnet. Kevin Siggy gains 1 position at the start of this race. Fiducci up to P5, by the way, already overturned the deficit what Keithley had. Rashell's dropped down to P7, Hugveld in P8, Pinches Ottaviani is now P10. There's moves being made left, right and centre in the background here, but ultimately Hassa and indeed Lerner, they've got away beautifully well here. Very clean start from the front, guys. There's not so clean in the background. It's absolute carnage here, Connery.
Oh, they're all leaning on each other. Max Pfeiffer pretty much in the middle of all of that going on back there. I'm not entirely sure how everyone's kept pointing in the right direction. Of course, we did have some drivers that failed to do that in the opening few corners of this race. Attila Digne towards the back of the order. We also have Leon Rudinger already a DNF in this event, but you can see this battle now for P14 between Max Pfeiffer and Luciano Wittvoet as they swap positions. So Pfeiffer, Wittvoet in that order for P14. Let's have a look back towards the front though, because you know this big slipstreaming zone all the way from the exit of the final corner basically in towards turn number 2. You're on the throttle for a very, very long time coming down through the straight, and of course turn number 1 as well. Look at this titanic fight behind Jack Keithley.
Yeah, Hugveld just sweeps across there, Rashel by the looks of things, and gets P7. That AMG struggles in a straight line. Very clear to see there. The gap between Keithley and Fiducci now being, what, nearly 1.5 seconds? Huge difference in speed in a straight line, but the AMG is just going to carve through the corners relatively nicely here, so Keithley needs to close up here. Big mistake though, as Hugveld just gets the front right onto the grass, and the front just completely steps out there. Massive tank slapper, which is normally sent from the rear, but that was from the front this time round, and now he's under pressure here from his teammate just in behind him. So number 88 there, you can see Ottaviani, no love lost there, that's for sure. That's a dive up the inside. And wow, you can see the Hugveld, even though he's a race winner, he's absolutely getting out of the way here and letting his teammate go through. Wow, that is a very interesting, we're seeing DTM Esports absolutely work together perfectly as a team. And then we're seeing RAG here, well, they're just fighting.
Well, someone does need to update our graphics. It still says they're virtual drivers by TX3, but there we go. But yeah, it's great to see those guys fight. It's sometimes a little unnerving seeing teammates fight, even though we do love to see it. You know, you just got to be careful you don't make any contact, and well, things end up in a very big argument after the race. I would have thought between the two teammates, but Ottaviani and Hugveld seems like they're on still on good terms for now. But we'll have to see what the slipstream's like for Hugveld coming down in towards turn number 2 this time around. It is your big passing opportunity here at this circuit. They're fighting behind instead though. Pinches trying to fend off Dorneden and Isaac Price. It's a big, big ask for these Ferraris to keep those BMWs behind going towards the end of these straights.
Yeah, 100%. We just seeing a comment here in the YouTube chat, Jordan Weeks saying it must be a hell of a prize for Siggy to be racing in this. Well, if the top 5 will go to a sighting event this year for DTM or during the DTM season, and one of those drivers will be judged or picked from that 5, and they get a full paid season in the DTM Trophy 2023. Yes, it's a pretty big prize to get Kevin Siggy racing, I must agree. Beautiful stuff. Maybe we'll see him in a car. Who knows? Hassa still leading the race here. Lona is in second position. And again, with the championship standings here, Lona is currently 7 points clear of Hassa. And Hassa is just outside that top 5. So right now, I don't think there would even be team orders, Connery. You know, as much as like the team would be like, we want to give Lerner the you know, he's leading in terms of their teammates. Like, Hassa needs to get into the top 5, so there won't be team orders here, I wouldn't imagine. But ultimately, a P1 and a P2 will make sure they'll be looking really, really good towards just getting themselves up towards Kevin Siggy, although Kevin Siggy is still only in P3, so he's not that far behind, is he? He's not going to be losing too many points, and actually he'll probably end up extending his championship lead.
I mean, Siggy's playing this one relatively smart. He's just keeping himself within the slipstream of those BMWs ahead, and as well, he's just allowing them to pull him around the circuit. Basically. So I think Siggy has to play the long game, even in the sprint race. The only chance he'll get to move forward and keep those positions will potentially be on the final lap of this race. You know, it's a thinking person's race, I would say, in this one. Siggy certainly knowing how to approach these, and you know, formulate a plan in his head of how to proceed. At least that would be my plan of how to proceed. Just sit there until the final lap and maybe pull a pass off on Lona. I don't expect necessarily to get up into the race lead at this point. I think it would be a bit too big of an ask. But P2, yeah, sure.
Oh, there's a mistake there as Hassa just runs ever so slightly wide. You're going to get away with it there, but if you do that around a final corner, you might be in a little bit of trouble. So you need to be a bit careful here, and you can see they always use the curb there on the inside to help rotate the car, and they'll be doing that around a final corner as well. You see Moritz just step that rear out ever so slightly. I think Siggy is closer than he's actually ever been as it stands, and the whole field are really starting to close up here. P1 still for Hassa. We're on board though with Moritz Lerner, looking back there on that Team Redline car of Kevin Siggy, our championship leader, being looked upon by our reigning champion. Through turn number 1, they just have to let off the gas ever so slightly. A very late apex there as well, and you run out as far as you can towards the wall, because ultimately you want to maximize your speed. Down and towards turn 2, you can just see the BMW in a straight line. Even with the slipstream, the gap just really isn't coming down. So BMW definitely has the bop, if you like, this time round. You can see the BMW there of Krippner in behind, not quite able to make the move there, but was closing up significantly on the Ferrari. But yeah, we saw last time out that at the Lausitzring, the Ferrari was absolutely a standout car. Probably, I would say the same at Imola. But today, it is definitely the BMWs. But Kevin Siggy is not giving them an inch.
It's not. He's keeping himself in contention, which is really all you need to do at this stage. You know, and in fact, I think possibly getting himself involved in a fight right now would actually be detrimental to his race, because it would well, one, there's a chance that ends in an instant, and two, it's slowing both him and whoever he's trying to fight with down. So then there's less chance of positions for the taking a little bit later on. So again, so he's playing it smart at the moment. Of course, you know, all of this is under the backdrop of the pressure being applied by Krippner, although Krippner on this lap seems to have fallen off the tail a little bit here. And then there's another Ferrari in tow as well. We got to talk about Gianmarco Fiducci, who resides in P5, making this a 5-car train, pretty much, for the race lead. So he's doing well to hold on to this as well.
Yeah, 100%, and he doesn't really need to do anything silly here. He's already in the top 3 in the championship. A top 5 right now would be great for him. Although, to be fair, it's not great that Hassa's leading, in all fairness, because Hassa is behind him in the championship, so that could be having an adverse effect on his championship. But he'll be happy with a top 5 as we head down towards turn 2, and Lona is not close enough to make a move here. Siggy thinks about it and then decides to indeed just sit behind here once again. We've got Ben Spanky watching once again as well. He's just said that at some point the move will be made by Lona. Yeah, I agree, absolutely agree with you there. I don't think there's going to be any team orders in this, just because they can't really afford to. If they want to win the championship, it's an individual championship. Ultimately, you want to help each other out. Yeah, I fully agree with you on that one, that there will be a battle at some point. But Moritz Lerner, having to go defensive there, you know, through turn number 2, has cost him here, and means Florian Hassa has probably got a lap or two where he's not really going to be under pressure for that potential overtaking. With only 6 minutes 40 seconds to go, it is looking very good. I'll tell you what, Group 2 of this battle, or of this race, is absolutely flying here. We've got the number 97 there of Adam Pinches. It looks like he is battling with Hugveld. Hugveld just misses the apex there. There wasn't any squeezing by the other car. That was absolutely a mistake there from the Swede, and actually loses 2 positions then as the number 69, nice, comes through with Alexander Dorniden. So Dorniden This is his best performance so far, actually. He's always in amongst, he always manages to qualify for finals, and he always has one or two standout performances. Looks like today might be the day, in behind that Arnage competition number 97 as well. Hugveld, even though he's a race winner so far this season, really had the rough end of the draw. People are just overtaking him left, right, and centre.
Yeah, it does, and well, Dornadent going for the move down the inside of the 97 of Pinches. That's coming up through turn number 1. It sort of stacks up Hugveld behind. Hugveld gets himself involved in an incident because of that. He had to try and slam on the anchors not to run into the back of the car ahead, perhaps forced down into the grass as well. That is a very, very sketchy portion of the circuit to have a problem as well. You're going at such a high speed through turn number 1. Yes, we are in a simulated environment here, but either still, it is so scary when you see a car have a problem there. And well, speaking of problems, Luciano Wittvoet has had a spin through the first chicane.
Very rare to see a Balash Esports car having issues, but here we are, and now battling with the MediaMarkt Ferrari as well. But yeah, Wittvoet struggling down there in P25 now, losing positions. Manu Rodriguez, the sole Porsche, making a move here as well. Alex Mosin is currently in that number 8 Ferrari. Manu Rodriguez trying to find a gap up the inside there and almost forced the opportunity, then grabs too much curb, cannot get any traction, and Mosin is just going to sweep around the outside in that MediaMarkt car. Again, if you see the red cars with MediaMarkt on the side, that means they qualified via our wildcard event earlier on this year, and they have been fully sponsored for the season by MediaMarkt. But yeah, fantastic initiative from them. A little bit further up, we've got Alex Mosin, we've got Vanna, we have got who is Markovic as well, the Montenegrese driver. He's currently in P20. Then a little bit further up here in P19, we've got the Audi that people are mentioning. Why is there only one Audi on the grid? Why is there only one Audi? Well, probably because it's not the fastest. Ralph Pringer then currently in P19. Then we've got Nagy in 18th position. Vermeulen is in 17th. Ayich is in 16th. We've then got Pliska, Hugveld, Bodin, who is our lead wildcard, I think. He's our lead wildcard, currently in 14th position. And he's just been overtaken here by Hugveld. Then we've got Pfeiffer, shall I say, in P12. Not any relation to Michelle Pfeiffer. I love Michelle Pfeiffer, huge fan. Then got Pringer in P11, I believe.
Price.
Then it's Dorniden.
Yes.
Then it's Pinches, Rashel. Then we've got Ottaviani, Keithley in that top 6 again. He's a bit of a cork in the bottle as it stands. Is old Keithley in that Williams Esports car, and I think this might be the maximum for what that car can achieve, to be completely honest. Fiducci. Then we've got Krippner. We've then got Siggy, and then we've got Lerner and Hasser. Let's go and check out the lead battle then, as there's another mistake here by Hasser. 3 minutes, 30 seconds to go here, and it's go time, isn't it? If you're going to make the move for the lead, it's now or never.
It is, but both of these drivers will have in their minds Siggy is right behind them. So if they mess up, it might be 2 free spots for Kevin Siggy, which is the last thing both Hasser and Lerner need with regards to the championship. So for Lerner, if he does want to make this pass happen, and that's what you think, and of course what Ben Sabanki thinks in the chat as well, he's going to go to the outside, potentially for turn number 1. Not the usual overtaking point, a big attempt around there. Wasn't able to carry enough momentum through though. He do get the better speed off the corner thanks to the wider line and coming off the top of the banking a little bit. So Lerner's going to have another little look here around the outside this time in towards the chicane. The two teams are fighting.
Oh, it's brilliant. He's got him around the outside there. That's an unbelievable move. If there's a way of doing it so that Siggy's not involved, that is the way to do it. Sweep it round the outside. And I'm not sure Hasser expected that kind of move at all. And ultimately, it's brought Siggy into play a little bit more, but it's also brought Krippner into play here as well. So ultimately, if they can maybe... I know it's tough because they're battling for P1 and P2. Could you potentially slow Siggy down enough here to give Krippner an opportunity at a podium? Have a 1-2-3 for DTM Esports. I don't know, it's been maybe wishful thinking from me that we're going to see any battling for that. I think the front 2 would be silly to do so. But actually, Krippner is under a lot of pressure here from Fiducci. So Gianmarco Fiducci, Team Fordzilla, trying to get a little bit of an overlap here. The overlap seems to be on the outside each and every corner, and it's just not quite working out, although Krippner's being forced to go very defensive. Can the Ferrari just sneak something round the final corner. Again, you've just got to tuck underneath that rear wing of the BMW. It's almost impossible to slipstream them, and then you've just got to try and outbrake them into turn number 2. Brilliant stuff, though, from Moritz Lerner. He is a DTM Esports champion for a reason, and he absolutely deserves to be in the lead of this race now. It was a sensational move.
Yeah, that was fantastic. Yeah, it caught me completely off guard as well. I would have thought you just left it until the end of the race, as we see Fiducci try to stick his nose in where it perhaps doesn't belong on the way through turn number 1. Let's ride on board with him as he tries to maintain the slipstream now into turn 2, the next heavy braking zone and perhaps the heaviest braking zone at this circuit. Not close enough to be able to make a move there, but I would have thought the drivers would be going for so many looks through that high-speed turn number 1, basically the first corner of the oval here as well. But it seems like I've been proven wrong.
There's no grip on the inside. Basically, you need to. It's only really one line through turn number 1, and you need to be able to use the lack of grip on the real low side to drift the car up towards the wall. So yeah, anyone on your inside, and you struggle because instantly the car wants to step out and hit the car on the high side. And if the car on the high side isn't going to yield the position, you're both just going to end up in the wall there. So that's what's happened there. Ferrari just had to get out of it effectively. 28 seconds remain here of this race. I think this is the final lap actually, to be honest. We've got a couple of corners to go. 20 seconds, it's going to be close, but I think you'll find that Moritz Lerner has waited right to the death. He did this in week 1 at Imola in race number 1 of the season. And he's done it now. Again, it's going to be close here. Actually, I think we might have one more. Kevin Siggy will be praying and hoping it's one more. 6 seconds remain. We're about to come across the line. Is it going to be the checker flag or is it another lap? It is going to be another lap. It is. It is literally 0. We had 0 last time. We've got 0 again. One more lap. One more lap. Here we go. Lerner still leads. Kevin Siggy, though, right up in behind Hasser. Hasser will want this P2 for sure. He's led most of this race. Does not want to give it up. That's for certain here. You've got Leonard Krippner, who's just not in the hunt for a podium here at all. He's just trying to keep Fiducci in behind. But this is good news for Siggy. I think the Ferrari, on the longer run, seems to be able to hang a little bit better than the BMWs. I think the BMWs are starting to struggle here because you can see we've got Siggy battling with the front 2 here in Lerner and Hasser, sorry. And then we've got Fiducci that's right up the tailpipe here of Krippner.
Yeah. 3-car train at the very front of the field now, as Krippner has had to deal with the Italian of Fiducci behind him, giving him all sorts of issues. But yeah, the unexpected extra lap here at the Lausitzring for our sprint race of the DTM Esports round number 3. It is the 2 teammates of Florian Hasser and Moritz Lerner, the latter of which leading at the moment and gaining some much-needed points. But Siggy, is there any opportunity in these final few sectors here? You wouldn't have thought so, but this is a lot of pressure to be piling on the back of that number 67.
100%. It's just too high risk, low reward really. He's already 57 points clear in the championship. He's going to finish in P3, but it's all about Moritz Lerner then, the DTM trophy driver, the current DTM Esports champion, back to winning ways here at the Lausitzring for race 1 of 2 here. It's round 5 of the 2022 DTM Esports season. We see a battle here between our lead Florian Bodar, the lead wildcard driver. Peter Pliska then is going to finish down as Hugveld. Did he cross the line? I think he just about crossed the line in P17 there before. He absolutely munched it into the wall, as we see a couple of our other sponsored MediaMarkt cars as well. As Moritz Lerner absolutely deserves to do some donuts there. Here is your official race results then. Moritz Lerner, P1, Florian Hasser, Kevin Siggy are your podium. Krippner, Fiducci, Keithley, Ottaviani, Rashford, Pinches and Dorniden are your top 10. Moritz Lerner's going to be super happy with that. Isaac Price didn't really get much of a mention during that, but he finished in P11. We then got Pfeiffer in 12th position, Fisker, Odin, Pajic, Vermeulen. We've then got Hugveld, Pringer, Markovic, and Whitford. And then the next set of drivers there, 3 DNFs, unfortunately. Rodriguez, Mosin, Fox, and Dinya are indeed your 24 drivers. Then we've got Nagy, we've got Vanna, and Rudinger, who unfortunately did have a DNF, which is not ideal in the slightest there. So, Connery, Moritz Lerner He had his teammate to overtake. I did mention that there probably isn't going to be team orders here because it is an individual championship. I feel like they're going to work together in qualifying, but as soon as the race starts, it's if you can beat me, you can beat me. It's as simple as that. Very similar to what we saw in IndyCar actually, with Scott McLaughlin and Joseph Newgard in the last race at Texas, where literally Joseph overtook him around the final corner to take the win. I know they're teammates, but ultimately, when it comes to a championship, you are fighting for that individual championship more so in the back of your head. So we saw it. Moritz Lerner, he got the opportunity, he took the opportunity. We expected nothing less. Is this his resurgence now? Is this his opportunity to springboard back up towards where Kevin Siggy resides at the top of the championship?
Well, I don't think he has much other choice, to be honest. This kind of needs to be the situation where Lerner gets back into things. Same with Hasser as well. They're in the relatively same part of the scoreboard at the moment. Lerner P5, Hasser P6. Many points adrift of the top of the order. So if they want to get their seasons back on track, it better start here. That sprint race is a very good start indeed. However, once you get into this endurance race, might be a different set of results. I'm expecting the BMWs to be strong next time out in a couple of days. I was going to say in a couple of weeks, but no, a couple of days at Spa-Francorchamps, which is our next circuit as well. So it could be a tough couple of rounds for the Ferrari, and DTM Esports, with all their BMWs, need to try and capitalize on the decent tracks for them the most they can.
I keep forgetting, well, that's actually this Sunday, isn't it? So, not a very long turnaround for us this time. We've got 2 races coming for you this Sunday as well. We're going to head to a very quick commercial break. But first, before that, courtesy of Race Room, again, thank you to Race Room, we have 3 DTM 2021 packs to give away for the in-game of Race Room. So if you'd like to win those, use the hashtag WeLoveDTM on Twitter. I'm going to be picking a winner after this commercial break. Send a picture of your favorite driver, your favorite sim racing driver, I don't know, your favorite car, or maybe your favorite cone you've ever seen at a racetrack for DTM. I don't know. But after this commercial break, I'm going to pick our first winner. We've got 3 across the day. But use the hashtag WeLoveDTM on Twitter.
Auto Hero ist dein Online-Shop für Gebrauchtwagen. Wir verkaufen nur Autos aus unserem eigenen Bestand. Jedes ist von unseren Kfz-Experten general überholt und rundum aufbereitet. Und du erhältst 1 Jahr Garantie. So unbeschwert kann Autokauf sein. Finde jetzt dein Auto bei Auto Hero.
Well, welcome back then, ladies and gentle cars. It's qualifying for the feature race. It's a full 1-hour race with a mandatory pit stop in the middle. After 15 minutes, it will open. You'll see a little red box next to their names, and when it goes green, that means they've done their mandatory pit stop. First winner is going to be Shane Johnson-Dag. That was one of my favorite moments in the history of my job, where that young lad was with the Ferrari t-shirt, and he was in the crowd waving, and then he got to meet Liam Lawson and meet the whole the AF Corsa team. It was, yeah, a very, very cool moment, and he had the weekend of his life. So, yeah, Shane Johnson Dag, shoot me a DM on Twitter, and I will send you the code. Let's do another one then. So we are going to give away another one during the formation lap of this feature race. So it is #WeLoveDTM on Twitter. So that's all you've got to do is just send a picture on to, or just let me know who your favorite driver is, your favorite car of all time, and all that good stuff. But yeah, just post it to Twitter, #WeLoveDTM. This is courtesy of Race Room as well. So again, a huge shout out to Race Room for providing us with DTM 2021 codes. So we've got 2 more to give away. So the first one will be indeed Shane Johnson Dag. I will shoot him a message if he doesn't DM me beforehand. And then we will give away another one during the formation lap of race number 2. And then we will indeed give one away at the end of the broadcast. Right, here we are. It's qualifying time. And Moritz Lerner, winner of race number 1, is absolutely flying here, as his first banker time is the quickest here, with Fiducci in 2nd position. So Moritz Lerner really is taking the ascendancy here.
I mean, it's, well, DTM Esports once again at the top. What else can I say? Högfeldt deciding to mow the grass, trying to be the groundskeeper here at Lausitzring, so hopefully he gets paid for that. But back to the pit lane he goes. Still yet to set a time is Christopher Högfeldt, so he's going to be wanting to get one in sooner rather than later. Here's Kevin Siggy, well, still through Sector 1, still has not set a time just yet. He's had a bit of a struggle for the first few flying laps of this qualifying 2 session. And characteristically for Siggy, all on his own. No one else around him, no one helping him out in terms of slipstream. I mean, he still got a decent time doing this last session, so it certainly has the capability of putting it up there on his own in this one as well. But I would have thought that Siggy would try and plan things a little bit more and try and come out at least behind some fast cars to help out with the straight line speed of the Ferrari. But, you know, what do I know? It seems like he's more comfortable out on his own.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, one thing that has surprised me is Leonard Krippner has popped it up into P1, so he kind of fell off the front 3 in terms of pace in race number 1, but right now is right up in and amongst it. I would say the one thing that we've got to watch out for in terms of Siggy is the track does tend to fall off. It tends to be quicker at the start of the session, so yeah, maybe under a little bit of pressure here.
Possibly.
Under a little bit of pressure, I would say. But if anyone can produce exceptional lap times, it is indeed Siggy. Is this only going to be good enough, I think, for maybe 5th? A 4th position, there we go. So he does a mega Sector 3, by the way. He was 0.2 of a second down through Sector 2. But his Sector 3 was incredible. But I just don't think the track's quick enough. I don't think he's got enough help here to be able to bridge that gap. Currently, he's got Fiducci ahead of him. That's a hell of a time from Fiducci, by the way. But he's, look at this, he's helping out the DTM Esports team by being in front of them, right? I don't know if this is meant to be the case, but yeah, he's currently right at the front here of that train of 4 cars. But they are showing exactly why having a couple of teammates is vital at this stage of the competition.
Fiducci playing some 5D chess, perhaps. Maybe he's going to try and file in behind them coming down the straight here, and then try and get himself the slipstream for the next lap. They did take a rather relaxed approach to those final couple of corners to make sure they can wind up and get the run out and carry as much speed as possible coming across the start-finish line. But Fiducci, yeah, he still leads this train for now, so he's not dropping back to then get a slipstream, so he's sort of helping out Lona here, and of course everyone else as part of the DTM Esports team behind. Having to look to see what the lap time situation is for some of the other drivers, to see if anyone is sort of making an impact at this stage. Lots of outlaps going on and lots of spinning apparently, as we saw one of the, I believe it was one of the RHGs, no, it was Team Fortilla cars go round and a bit awry, I should say, for that one. But yeah, we're getting into the final moments of the session now, so there's not a lot of opportunities for you to get yourself your time on the board now, and like you said, track probably past its best.
Yeah, 100% here. Lona just currently in P2, but he's got a bit of, I don't know, slipstream to work with here. He's not too close as well, so he won't be having the huge negative effect through the corners as he's just gone purple through sector number 2. So he was only 0.03 of a second off of the best times posted so far in sector number 1. And now he is a full 1/10 of a second up through sector number 2. Sector number 3, though, this is where the BMW does tend to struggle compared to, let's say, the Ferraris. But he's got that massive toe to use here. All trying to lay that power down. That might be enough to ruin a lap here, I think, as he comes then through the apex of the final corner. And you can see that the car in front is definitely trying to help here, 100%, trying to give him as much go as possible. As they come across the line, he does take pole. It's by 0.06 of a second. Anyone else going to be able to spring a surprise here? I don't think that's going to be the case. 3 BMWs again at the front end. The difference between the first race and the second race, as it stands, Siggy is only in 5th. He is not in 4th position. He's not going to be able to split the BMW straight away unless he gets an absolute worldie of a start. So we've got Jack Keithley here, P6. His qualifying pace has been really good. Tends to struggle in the race by the look of things. Still 1 minute 30 seconds to go. The BMWs are striking once again.
Yeah. Maintaining that dominance in qualifying and potential dominance in the race as well. We'll just have to see how it turns out. But Florian Hasse, I mean, he's gone faster once again through Sector 1 this time around, so it might not be totally done. Not 100%. He is sort of running on his own without any assistance at the moment, though. So maybe this won't be a pole position setting time. But I have been wrong before, especially pushing wides like that. Not the ideal line coming out of the right-hander there. But you can see lots of drivers down towards pit lane, yeah, and that's a lap time invalid there, which makes sense for Florian Hasse, considering how much of an off-track excursion that was.
He was basically on the moon there,
yeah.
His exit. So, yeah, there's bound to be invalidated for sure. There's Dinya, who's currently in 11th spot. Where are the Hungarians in this? Pinches currently in P15. Nagy then is currently in P16. It still could change here as we see a big spin there as well. I think that was Michael Rashel. Morris Lerner then is provisionally on pole position. I'm not sure that's going to change either. Leonard Krippner is in 2nd position. Florian Hasse is in 3rd. Kevin Siggy in 4th position. Gianmarco Fiducci in 5th. Then got Jack Keithley in 6th. Max Pfeiffer is in 7th position. We've then got Peter Pliska in 8th. We've then got Isaac Price, who is in 9th position. Needs a good shave, that lad. We've then got Michael Rashel in P10. The next set of drivers then, Attila Dinya is in 11th position. We've then got Alessandro Ottaviani in 12th position. That's huge here because Ottaviani, coming into today's championship, was actually 2nd in the championship. So, yeah, big news for drivers such as Florian Hasse, Krippner as well, maybe even Attila Dinya, although Dinya's only 1 position ahead. Christopher Hugveld is actually going to be behind him, so not the greatest of times as well for him. But we've got 7 minutes left to go before we head to our next race. So 7 minutes to go here. Yeah, it's the BMW show, isn't it? Again, it's DTM Esports really showcasing their skill set in terms of their team advantage, just judging by how many cars we've got. We see this, you see this, Connery, in Pescalot when Coanda was racing. You're seeing it with Redline. We're seeing it with VRS in that series as well now. It's vital to have teammates in these competitions, even though this is an individual championship.
I mean, it's something you see in the real world as well. How many times do you see the teammates in F1, for example, helping each other in qualifying and have a mutual understanding of, you know, give it one time, I give you the slipstream, next time you give me the slipstream. It's just sort of a deal like that. However, the problem is exacerbated a little bit when you have more than 2 cars. If you're able to run around in these big packs, then that becomes a little bit more unfair to a lot of the drivers that maybe are privateers or they're the only one from their esports team in this session. So, you know, it's a little bit more of a struggle for them to find someone to work with and someone that's going to be returning the favor, so to speak. So yeah, it's a little bit of an unfair element, at least if you ask me. I mean, there are some series that I commentate on that actually especially forbids teams trying to run around in packs. So there's different ways of looking at it, but like I said before, though, if you have this advantage and it's not explicitly banned by the rules, of course you're going to go for it.
Yeah, 100%. You have to. It's as simple as that. You've got to take your opportunities when it indeed presents itself to you. Right. Again, courtesy of Race Room, we have got some DTM 2021 codes to give away. We've got 5 minutes left, so if you want to win yourself some of those codes, use the hashtag #WeLoveDTM. So all you've got to do is just post a picture, or I don't know, not even a picture, you can just say who your favorite driver is, what your favorite car is, and all that good stuff. Just use the hashtag #WeLoveDTM on Twitter, and I'll be picking a winner during the formation lap of the race here. Well, it was, again, like I said, the BMW show in race number 1. Although we did see the Ferraris start to pick up pace later on in the stint in terms of the 15-minute race, are we going to see the Ferraris come strong here? Because this is a full 1 hour race, isn't it? You've got 2 effective stints of 30 minutes if you split it with the pit stop they have to serve in terms of the tyres. But does this now favour the Ferraris?
I really don't think so. The problem for the Ferraris is basically this. If they don't have the slipstream help from any of the faster cars in the straight line ahead of them, the lap times are not so good. I mean, unless you're someone like Siggy or Fiducci, who are the faster Ferraris in this session, you're basically in the dust as far as lap times are concerned. So I think the Ferrari strategy for this one is keep yourself in the draft for as long as you possibly can. Especially if you're only just about hanging on to faster cars ahead, and try and pit with them. But then again, that may not be the winning strategy. They might try to pull off a little bit of an undercut, but the thing is, the more that you're left out there on your own on an undercut, even though you're on fresher tyres, might still not work out in your favour. So it's all, as with most things in motorsports, it's all about compromises. It's just a matter of which one's going to be the right one.
Yeah, 100% agree with you on that one as well there. Let's talk about the championship picture then. I'm just going to quickly mention what it looked like coming into today. Actually, maybe you have a graphic to chuck up on screen here, Connor. Yeah, there we go. Perfect. So this is what the championship looked like coming into today. Kevin Siggy, he's on 160 points. He was 53 points clear of Alessandro Ottaviani. So, yeah, Siggy was looking really, really good here. Fiducci currently in P3, but we know that Gianmarco Fiducci's in 12th position on the grid here in first race number 2, so not the greatest of days. Christopher Hugveld, we saw him finish P17 in race number 1, which opens the door for Moritz Lerner and Florian Hasse because they finished P1 and P2 in race number 1. Leonard Krippner finished P4, so he's going to move up the order here as well. He's qualified well for race number 2 as well, so yeah, if you're Ottaviani's going to be good, but if you're Fiducci, you may be in a little bit of trouble here today. You've got a bit of a gap to work with in terms of Leonard Krippner. You're looking at the gap there, it's what, 41 points. So yeah, he's got something to work with, but you keep performing like this in qualifying, you're going to put yourself in a position where Leonard Krippner is just going to easily overturn that deficit. Attila Dinya, he's in P8. We've got Adam Pinches. They're just not really high enough in qualifying here, really to push the boundaries and potentially get themselves up the order. Axel Vermeulen as well. We haven't seen much from him today. So really, it now sort of becomes a 7-horse race in this championship with Leonard Krippner and Hasse. If Hasse and Lerner, and obviously Krippner getting that P4, they've performed exceptionally well today. And if they could do the same in this second race, they will be in that top 5 going, into the final 4 races of the season.
Yeah, they will be. And you've got to set yourself up that platform. You've got to get that... You've got to get to the end of the season to even be competing for a championship at the end of the season. It's the most simple, the most obvious way of putting it, but it's true. You can't just... it can't just be your God-given right to be fighting for the championship at the end. You need to put the work in. This is why the middle portions of these seasons are so important, because you need those consistent results to be able to allow yourself to be within striking distance at the very end. I did see in the wonderful DTM YouTube chat that Ben Samarki saying, I'm hearing the undercut could work very well here. Well, Ben Samarki certainly has much more experience with race room than I do, so therefore I would trust in his word a little bit more. But again, it's how that interacts though with remaining in the slipstream and the whole the situation regarding that still remains to be seen. BMW's doing that on other BMWs. Potentially, if we start to see a lot of infighting with regards to the DTM Esports cars, then potentially someone like a Siggy or a Fiducci can try and capitalize on all that if they're infighting too much, not only on track but in the strategy as well. But it's really, really hard to say at this point. I think you got to take this race as it comes with regards to if you're a driver, because there's sort of no way of really predicting things at the moment. It's very, very, very circumstantial, and most races are anyway, but this one more so.
I'll tell you what, Ben, if you're about for the rest of this championship, so Sunday, and you know the dates here, we can, let's check the dates up on the screen here while we've got about 15 seconds to go. So check out the calendar here for the rest of the season. We are back here this Sunday. We've got Spa-Francorchamps, then we've got the Red Bull Ring on the 21st of April, and then Portimao on the 28th of April. Ben, if you're around this stage during the warm-up for race number 2, it'd be good to have you come in and have a little chat for a couple of minutes each broadcast, because you are a bit of a race room specialist. So if you're up for that, shoot me a DM on Twitter and we'll have a little chat with you on Discord. It'll be simple, just join Discord and you can give us a little bit of insight as to what we could expect from the racing. I think that might be a nice little touch actually. So yeah, let me know via a DM and on the old Twitter. Right, here we go then. Warm-up is done. We're here for the race. It is the final race of today's broadcast. We will hit the halfway point of the championship. It's 12 races this season. This is going to mark number 6. It is a full 1-hour race. We've got a 30-minute pit window. Remember as well, where they do indeed have to change their tyres as well. So we're about to head onto the formation lap. Let's pick our next winner, shall we? Let's just refresh hashtag #WeLoveDTM on Twitter. Right, and I am going to give it to Nico911. So Nico91113 at Nico9113, who is a Porsche fan, judging by that name and the picture he sent me, and he's supporting Florian Hasser. Shoot me a DM on Twitter. Congratulations, you've won yourself a DTM 2021 code for all of the cars and deliveries in Race Room. We've got one more code to give away, courtesy of Race Room. So during this race, if you want to use the hashtag #WeLoveDTM on Twitter, that's all you got to do is just use the hashtag #WeLoveDTM. Maybe tweet what your favorite car is, your favorite driver of all time, your favorite circuit, and all that good stuff. As we see a Fordilla car head off into the garage there. I'm sure that everything is fine. Then you could potentially be a winner. But yeah, Nico911, congratulations, you are a winner. Shoot me a DM on Twitter and I will send you the code later on after the broadcast. Here we go, formation lap time. It's a long lap here and it's a long race for them to negotiate. The sprint race, normally lots of shenanigans happen as everyone is trying to indeed gain as many positions, as much time as possible. As well, Peter Pisker's just been disqualified for speeding in the pit lane, so that's early. that doesn't normally happen until midway through the race, but that is not ideal. I'm not sure what's going to happen there, but the Fordilla driver is, well, going to be furious with that.
That one's a bit of a weird one. Not entirely sure what race control are going to do with that one. I'm not sure. Because, we did see a Team Fordilla car go down towards the pit lane. That must have been Pliska. And then we got the notification that apparently he's being disqualified for something. We don't know if it's actually speeding in pit lane or whether it's some other issue. Maybe.
Well, no, that's what it said.
I mean, that's what it said, but I don't know how he could have spun on pit lane when they haven't been on pit lane for this, even to get to the grid. Because they just
he went to the pits. He quit. I don't know what happened. He obviously didn't ready up or something. Yeah. And I saw him driving on the exit of the pits. I actually saw him driving in the pit lane. So he's trying to get his position on the grid. I assume. I don't know. But all I know is he's not in the race, right? He's probably been sent right to the back, and he's probably greyed out. And there we go. Yeah, he's in the pits. He's done. So that is a disqualification here for Peter Pliska. And I just don't think he's readied up in time, to be honest, and then tried to come out the pits and get his position. So, yeah, not worked out too well there, ultimately. Right, let's get some names on the screen then. Let's get some racing action going. As we've got our first formation lap to finish off here. So, Lerner and, we've got Leonard Krippner as our front row. Then we've got Hasser and Siggy, and then Fiducci in behind. So, Siggy did get P4 in the end, so he did change. He did get up ahead of Fiducci. Which is something we didn't notice, or I didn't notice it, to say this. Not going to throw you under the bus, Connery. You probably did, but here we are. So it's a full 1 hour race here. Can the BMWs again go out there and dominate this race? Do you know what? I think the Ferraris are going to be able to go a bit better in terms of a longer run. Expect to see the Ferraris come strong near the end of this race. If he can stick around the BMWs and be near them, I think the Ferraris are going to be very good near the end here. Here we go then. 1 hour of racing. It's round 6 of 12, the DTM Esports 2022. We're here at the Lausitzring. It's the feature race. It's a full 1 hour. There is a management pit stop. It is the BMWs at the front here. Moritz Lohner then is your pole sitter with Krippner in second position. You can see the number 1 on the car as we do go green light racing here, and we head down in towards turn number 1. And Lohner's got a very good start here. And actually, Leonard Krippner, I think it's Hasser. So Hasser is going to take P2. This is a bit of contact there. Ottaviani's up ahead there of Siggy, but the momentum would have all been lost there from the touch on the front of his car. And I think Siggy, maybe just about ahead he is, up to P4 he will go. And he's being gifted a spot there because he did lose out off the start. He was absolutely gained one there as well. I think Kiefer's absolutely sent one on the inside. He's just hit the orange barrier there, full of tyres. We've got Fiducci, trying to retake the position here. He's going to have to sweep around the outside of Siggy, a very difficult corner to make an overtake on the inside, let alone round the outside. Siggy is just about going to hold on. And wow, what a send that was from Kiefer. It didn't work out, but as it stands, the front 5 are as they were, minus Siggy. I think Siggy, did qualify P4, so they are as they were.
Yeah, that was a little bit of a cluster down in towards turn number 2 for the first time. It could have ended in tears, but it's good to see everyone able to, make sure that they're able to get through that unscathed. A little bit of a jostling for position in the mid-pack here. This is all behind, or rather involving now, Alessandro Ottaviani fighting out with Alexander Dorden. We got Isaac Price involved in this one as well. As you see the RHG Esports car of Ottaviani now dive down the inside. Gets it done, to be fair. I was going to criticise him for that one, but no, gets past Dinya. Job done.
Yeah, and whilst drivers are, where's Fiducci in all of this? Fiducci is P5. Ottaviani kind of has to make these moves here. Again, to start the day, he was second in the championship, and he just, with drivers who are behind him in the championship being Lerner and Hasser, those two drivers are currently P1 and P2 again for the second time in a row, so they could overturn the deficit that Ottaviani had over them because he was on 107 points. So it's a big day today for Ottaviani. He has to find something magical out of his magic hat. Leonard Krippner here is ahead of Siggy. Siggy had already got up to P3 in race number 1 by this point, and actually he's under more pressure from the Ferrari behind him than he is able to put on the BMWs in front here. But yeah, fascinating stuff here. Can the Ferraris hang with the BMWs? By the looks of things, in the early stages, not at the moment.
Well, we saw in the sprint race that they could just about get there with as long as they don't make too many mistakes through the middle sector of the lap. Because, well, the middle sector of the lap is typically where the Ferraris are a bit stronger because of the tight and twisty sections, especially in through the first sector. They tend to close up a little bit more. So as long as they nail that, they should be able to hang with the BMWs at the front relatively well coming down the straight. Not enough for them to have an opportunity, typically, down into the heavy braking zones like we saw in the 15-minute sprint race, but it keeps themselves in contention. That's simply what the thing that you have to do here. You keep yourself in it, and you could potentially win it. And once we get that pit lane open, you do have more options. Potentially, you come down in early, try and get that undercut going. We'll see how. We'll see if that results in any benefit for those who do go for that option. But then again, that could easily be covered off by the drivers that are under threat of it. Because, Lona, Hasser, Krippner, they know that Siggy and Fiducci are going to have to pull off something special, potentially something in the strategy, to be able to get themselves ahead here.
We've already seen Siggy do the undercut, haven't we, with Imola, where he was being chased down by Lerner for pretty much the whole 25 minutes at the end of the race after Lerner hit a little bit later, and it didn't work out for Lerner. It was Siggy that went out and got the victory. So we know he's got previous there, and he'd like to come in a little bit earlier. So today is really the perfect prime opportunity to do so. Lead though still indeed Moritz Lerner, as we're on board here with Michael Rashford for Esports. Would love to make it a 1, 2, 3, 4 at the front here. Needs to get past Kiefer, needs to get past Fiducci, needs to get past Siggy. Rashford might be the driver they could use here to come in really early as soon as the pit window opens, just to get track position. If he can gain a couple of spots by being really, really quick on another set of fresh tyres. He's being dragged along here by Keithley, but again, the AMGs just seem a little bit off the pace. Just around here specifically, they're just dropping a little bit further back here from Fiducci. Siggy, again, P4. Then got Leonard, Krippner, Hasser, and Lerner. Those all within a second of each other at the front end of front three. But it looks like Siggy is able to hang here. The first couple of laps, maybe just taking it easy, but now starting to close in on that front three.
Yeah. Again, both the Ferraris right now, both Siggy and Fiducci are, this is about as well as the first couple of laps of this race could have gone. Of course, it would have been ideal to try and get a jump on the initial start on those cars ahead, but that simply didn't happen, so you kind of have to take the next best thing and sit in behind. And now I get the feeling, at least for our leading pack, it's just going to be a whole bunch of waiting until that pit lane opens, and then we might see more developments at the front once that happens. But for now, I think they would be very comfortable running in their single file line. Someone who's not comfortable running single file at the moment, Attila Dinya, Isaac Price. They're fighting for a top 10 spot.
Isaac Price just sent one down the inside there. Beautiful stuff from him. He's sporting a very lovely woolen jumper there as well. But yeah, just sent one up the inside of Dinya, and it made it stick again. Isaac Price is someone who's very similar to Alexander Dorniden. If there's an esports final, tends to be that. Just manages to qualify for it. Maybe not having the strongest of days or strongest of championships that you would expect from someone like Isaac Price, but yeah, he's on his own. He hasn't got anyone to work with in this championship, so he's very similar to someone like Kevin Siggy. Kind of have to rely on themselves here. It might be worth finding a couple of mates in this championship to work with to get some slipstream, maybe some ex-teammates, because he has driven with some of the drivers on the grid as well, his twin brother Jack Easley being one of them. But yeah, it's just P10. Don't think that's the worst thing in the world. I think it's a really good performance in all fairness. Dinya is going to try and maybe retake the position for Vermeulen, who's currently in 12th position, needs a big performance really if they want to move up top towards the sort of higher positions in the top 10. Currently is in the top 10 before today started, but not had a great day here today. You see that very bright green TX3 livery. Then just in behind them is Alexander Dornigan, who we expect to be in these finals. Had a bit of a standout performance, I'd say, for the season in this previous race today in round number 5, in round 6, just outside that top 10. Lead though, still 1.2 seconds separating the front 3. Lerner is just stretching his legs a little bit here. Hasser in second spot. Leonard Krippner is in third. Again, you can't really rely on Krippner to just slow down Siggy, because Krippner's got his own championships that we were worried about here as well. But Fiducci now really has dropped off. So this 5-way battle is starting to become a bit of a 4-way battle. But I tell you what, I think you'll find that Jack Keithley maybe starting to close in on that Ferrari, and actually the gap looks a bit bigger on that camera angle. The other camera angle lied to me a little bit. But yeah, on his own now is Fiducci, and he really will be wanting to gain a few more positions than he is currently in to try and guarantee himself a top 5, because the two of the drivers that are behind him in the championship are currently 2nd and 3rd. So yeah, not the best of days for Fiducci as it stands.
Yeah, and well, the biggest issue right now is falling off the back of Siggy. So I think the ideal situation for Fiducci would be maintain his position in that top 5 pack, but he's dropping off the back, and now potentially he might get swallowed up by the pack behind. They are a bunch of Mercedes, so therefore you would have thought that the Ferrari would hold them off relatively well, but with Fiducci's pace at the moment, it's going to be a bit of a struggle for him, if that trend continues, of course. And
Keithley's got to work really hard.
Yeah.
He's got to work really hard here. He's got to get that slipstream off Fiducci and maybe drag him towards that front 4. I think you're going to find all of the AMGs coming early today, just because they're down on pace. They're not as quick as the Ferraris or the BMWs, but if they can maybe grab a couple of spots, or maybe grab 5 seconds extra over the course of maybe a 10-lap stint, if the other drivers come in a little bit later, again, it's not all in their own hands, of course, then that's their best opportunity, right? The undercut, again, Bence said in the chat that the undercut is a genuine possibility today. They have to try at least that, otherwise it's just going to be a very long race for them.
That's Markovic.
Oh, he nearly did he nearly annoyed you there, Connery, didn't he? He thought about it. He thought about making you really angry. Markovic there. Well, how young is Markovic, by the way? I didn't realize Markovic was that young. He looks very young indeed. Yeah, wow, okay. Again, a very, very phenomenally talented driver. Not having the best of days today, that's for sure, even in race number 1. And that looks like it might be a crabbing car as well. It's sort of driving sideways. Siggy now has isolated Krippner by the looks of things, which is perfect. I think Krippner's still just about getting a tow from the 2 cars in front, and actually definitely is getting a tow from the 2 cars in front here. But the more pressure Siggy can put on here, the more opportunity there could be to make an overtake where the BMW in front isn't gaining that slipstream. Look at him closing up here, down towards turn number 1. And again, can you force your nose up the inside, force that BMW offline? I think the BMW's gone offline itself, in all fairness here. Siggy, again, with a bit more of an opportunity here. That BMW is going to start to struggle the further it falls behind the front 2. And it will be pretty easy pickings, I think, for Siggy, considering how fast he is out of that final corner. I think a podium is probably the best he could be looking at, to be honest, judging by the pace of the front 2. Hasser and Lerner have been exceptionally fast all day. Krippner maybe not quite on their pace in terms of the race pace, but Krippner now is just going to try and hold this Ferrari behind.
Yeah, this is a bit of an awkward situation for Siggy to be in, because now his hand is forced. The gap between Hasser and Krippner, like you said, has been extending. And if Siggy wants any say with regards to finishing any higher than 3rd place, he needs to bridge the gap, and quickly. He does need to get past Krippner and then hope beyond hopes that he doesn't lose enough time in doing so to then fall off the back and not get the slipstream from Lerner and Hasser. So yeah, tricky situation for Siggy. He's hoping that Krippner picks up the pace a little bit and brings both of them back up towards the front 2. But if that doesn't happen, Siggy will have to act, and quickly, I would have thought.
Yeah, I think the pit stop phase here really is going to be where people take their chances. Again, I feel like there's certain drivers that have to try the undercut. There are certain drivers that don't need to. The BMWs, they'll stay out as long as they possibly can, right? They'll try and split the tyres, unless like someone like Siggy comes in, I guess. If Siggy comes in early, they all have to come in early. So it might be one of those races where they all just come in straight away and just try and get onto the best strategy possible by having those quick laps, but then struggle near the end, which is, again, where I feel like if the Ferrari's in and amongst it, I think this Ferrari has the potential to close that gap later on in this race. Again, it remains to be seen whether that is going to be the case. But Leonard Krippner here is really the cork in the bottle and really giving an opportunity for Lona and indeed Hassa to just drive away. Half a second between those two. And Siggy will want to try and get this done as soon as possible. There's really no slipstream coming for BMW now as well. So right now, it should be easy pickings once they get down in towards turn 1 through towards turn number 2 of the next lap.
You would have thought so, but I don't think Siggy was able to line up the run as perfectly as he would have wanted through turn 1 that time. It's an awkward piece of circuit, because if you have someone slow on the inside, or at least you're catching someone rapidly on the inside, you can't exactly just swing that car to the outside and hope the car grips up for the exit of the corner. You just kind of have to lift out a little bit, allow the car ahead of you to try and negotiate the corner, and then all of a sudden you've lost the run that you're able to establish out of the final corner on the previous lap. So, yeah, this needs to be timed.
Patience.
This needs to be timed so well.
Yeah, you're right, and there's such a thing as, if we go on board here, it's such a thing as being too close.
Yeah.
So right now, perfect, nice gap to work with. But as you come towards the apex here, you don't want to be right behind him. You want to maintain this gap here. You should hear him let off early. There you go, lets off early, and now he should try and punch through. I think he might be a little bit too far behind here. It's a case of he may have let off a little bit too much there. Yeah, he's not going to get close enough down towards turn number 2. But yeah, there is such thing as being too close. I guess a lot of people who are watching right now would have raced around Spa. Radio No Rouge, you could be too close going up through there, and you let off and you lose so much time going down towards the Kemmel Straight, as Pfeiffer maybe potentially losing a spot here to the R8G car of Ottaviani. Ottaviani leaving the perfect amount of room on the inside, sweeps it round to the left-hand side there, and actually gets a little bit out of shape on the exit. But beautiful stuff there from the Italian, and really has to make these moves. He's got AMGs in front of him here. It's a case of you pretty much, if you get right behind him, you're guaranteed to make a move because you've got the quicker car. But it's, can you catch up to these two? I think the defining factor is going to be that Russell and indeed Keithley aren't in the same team. They are going to be battling as hard as they possibly can, which should give the opportunity for them to close up, as we do indeed now have the pit window open. So that red box next to their names has just appeared. Once that turns green, you know that driver has indeed come into the pits. They all have to come in, and they all have to change their tyres. Do we see anybody come in right now?
It would be a big call for Siggy. If he can't line up this run and feels like he can't get past on this lap, then potentially he might be looking to come down in. But no, he does stay out there. We do have a couple of cars coming down in. You can see our timing screen not dealing with it rather well. But we've got Alexander Dornaden heading his way down in now. I also saw
like a pitch.
Yeah, a couple of drivers. Dornaden in, Pajic in, Högfeldt also coming down in as well. It makes sense for some of these guys further down the field, especially if they're not in perhaps their usual running spot. Of course, come down in, try and take the gamble, try and get the fresher tyres, try and get the undercut done, and then hope you can hold on for the end.
Three different manufacturers as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is an experiment here. We will see how quick they are in terms of do they gain a load of positions here. Alex Mosen, also another driver that's popped into the pits as well. So the lead cars, the lead actually has come out to 1.4 seconds here. So there's been a mistake, I think, from Hassa. So Hassa is now just dropped a little bit further back. And do you split the strategy? I think they've got a big enough gap here for one of them to come in, for Hassa or Krippner, just to cover off any potential drivers just in behind them that could try and undercut them. At least put one of you in there. Again, is it going to have that much of a detrimental effect on your performance in the race? If it is, of course, you won't be able to do it. But it might be an idea just to cover off any potential advancements from a driver behind. What do you think?
The Door Esports have the best seat in the house at the moment. They have so many options. They can keep Krippner in this position. They might even tell Krippner, okay, just make Siggy's life hell. Try and keep him behind as much as possible. Allow Lohner and Hassa to run away at the front, because the more of a buffer that those two cars at the front have back to Siggy, the more leeway they have with regards to strategy. So they can see then Siggy come down in early. They don't have to react immediately to try and cover that off. They can wait a lap. They can wait 2 laps. And then they can come down in, and then they'll have the marginally better tyres towards the end of the event. But Siggy's got himself a pretty good run through the turn number 1, but still can't make anything of it into the braking zone of turn 2. And, well, it's my favourite phrase ever. You have to be faster at the right points. There's no point in being faster overall if you're not faster where it matters.
Yeah, that's a good point there as well. But again, I just don't think Krippner can afford to play the team game here. He's got to be looking out for himself only, because he came into this round, or these 2 rounds today, in 7th position. Top 5, they do indeed get a sighting event prize at a DTM event this year, where, again, they will be judged, and one of them will win the prize, which is to get a full season paid in the DTM trophy. Krippner can't afford to play this team game where there's no way that he's being told, oh, hold him up for us to advance here. Absolutely not. He 100% needs to be gaining more points here. He needs to be gaining more points here than Ottaviani and Fiducci. Those are the 2. Hugvelt's nowhere near. Hugvelt is absolutely nowhere near today. He's going to drop out of this top 5. He was in 4th position. Attila Dinya's nowhere near. Adam Pinches is nowhere near. Vermeulen is nowhere near. They're 8th, 9th, and 10th position. So right now, Krippner just needs to be as many positions ahead of Fiducci as possible. Fiducci is currently in P5. Here's the battle, though, for P3. And this is the first time he's going to go for it. He absolutely is. He tried to force the overlap, to force that BMW offline. And ultimately, on the entry to the corner, the BMW was offline. But could BMW punch out here and get a really nice exit down towards turn 2? It looks like he has done once again. So there's not going to be a change of position here down in towards that the harshest braking zone that we do indeed have here around the Lausitzring turn 1 oval. But again, Leonard Krippner is holding on, but look at the amount of time he's losing to the front 2. Are you losing sufficient amount of time here to try and gain track position if you're Krippner by doing the early pit stop now? Okay, you know you're going to give free air to Siggy, but Siggy hasn't got any slipstream to work with or anything like that. So it might be a case of it's worthwhile for Krippner just to bring it in, get those fresh set of tyres on, and just get some really quick lap times in?
It really does depend on where his priorities are. I mean, you said that he possibly won't be playing the team game here. The team game would be stay out as long as Siggy stays out and just be in his face this entire time. However, if Krippner wants a little bit more than a P3 or a P4 today, then potentially he might have to do something over the next couple of laps in terms of trying to get the undercut done over his teammate and then try and force their hand. So, you know, it's all about, do you benefit the team, or do you try and help out the team, or do you try and help out yourself? Well, I say it's a Drivers' Championship only, therefore that is your decision made.
Here we go then. Opportunity knocks once again for Kevin Siggy. Has he learned from the 3 previous attempts here as to try something a little bit different? He is very close. It's just difficult to follow through here. If anyone's ever tried IndyCar on any game or in oval, because you don't really use GT cars around oval circuits all too often, you try and follow another car on an oval circuit, it is almost impossible, especially when they've got a little bit of downforce, such as a GT3 car. The jet wash there is horrendous. So yeah, again, Siggy finding it very difficult to indeed hold that line there, although he's nearly found a gap there to work with. And Krippner now, they're just going to lose so much time to the front 2 here. This is a battle for third, I think, now for the race. But look how close he's able to get here. It's a long run down in towards a right-handed hairpin. It's a long-winded hairpin, and Siggy's going to have to try and sweep this around the outside here again. He's actually got to hope that Krippner just runs off the apex. He has done perfectly, and now he's going to send one up the inside, and he just loses the rear himself as well on the limit of the car, and Krippner lives to fight another day.
Does another opportunity in towards the final sector though for Siggy, taking the big wide arc through, forcing Krippner to have to commit to the shallower line. You'll be a little bit slower off the corner as a result, but this has lost them about 0.6 of a second already. Maybe a little bit of a push there from Siggy.
He's done it. He's in.
No, it was Krippner coming down on towards the pit lane. It's an awkward pit entry here, but Krippner's made the call. Siggy stays out.
Yeah, 100%. I figured that was always going to be the case here. Krippner he takes the lead of the race. Love that with the inside line pit entry. But yeah, Krippner needed to do that. He needed to I think that they were hemorrhaging time here, both of them. So it makes sense for them to split the strategy here. I reckon Siggy will respond straight away. If he's not lightningly quicker than he was previously when they were battling, he will absolutely bring the car in as well. I think he has to. So I don't think this battle's over at all right now, but Krippner has made a very, very good decision here. Should be the lead car in terms of everyone that's pitted. So yeah, he's got nothing really to worry about. Shouldn't really have to deal with any traffic here as well. As we see here, a potential move being made by Isaac Price there on Pfeiffer. Again, not Michelle Pfeiffer. But yeah, it is a brilliant stuff. It's just his favourite corner, isn't it? We're going to name it Isaac Price Corner by the end of this. And it's we haven't seen many overtakes really, have we? To be honest, around here, considering I was expecting to see loads, but Isaac Price seems to be able to get that job done.
We'll see things pick up in the second stint, I would have thought. The first of these stints, apart from the first couple of laps, tend to be a little bit calmer than the second. So I would certainly just wait and hold the phone a little bit before making a big statement about how we haven't seen any overtaking. So we will potentially see that in maybe the final 10 minutes of this race when everyone gets the whole go forward attitude. But yeah, with this pit stop phase, not many people coming down in for a super early stop here. Of course, we did see a bigger handful of early stoppers at both of the previous races, but everyone feeling a little bit more tire limited here. They don't want to have that big, long 45-minute stint or whatever it is towards the end of the race. Deciding to go for about 39 minutes instead. At least that's the option that Keithley and a few others have gone for.
Yeah, so Keithley into the pits then. It is not the decision being made by Siggy to come in, so he's going to stay out for a little bit longer. And I guess he feels like he's pretty quick, which is always a good thing. Well, so Siggy is staying out.
Well, Siggy, on that last lap, he took out a 10th and a half out of Hasse. So there's still some pace in that car.
Yeah, I genuinely think the Ferrari on a longer run is going to come good. I think he might be a little bit too far back now from Hasse and Lohner. Although it's Kevin Siggy, who knows? Siggy can do magical things. That's why he wears a magic hat. It's as simple as that. Rashford now moves up to P5, and again, if you get a bit of clear air for the first time in a race, an opportunity to maybe just grab a couple of really quick lap times before you do indeed come into the pits. We have got one more code to give away, by the way, for the DTM 2021 pack on Race Room. So if you are a sim racer and you want to win yourself these cars that you're seeing on screen and all the liveries, so all of the cars, all the liveries, you need to use the hashtag #WeLoveDTM. So go ahead to Twitter and tweet your favorite driver in DTM of all time, or maybe your favorite sim racer. You could also even post your favorite barrier you've ever seen around a race circuit. But yeah, use the hashtag #WeLoveDTM. I'll be picking one more winner after this race because we've already picked two, although the second one hasn't even responded to me yet. So yeah, we will be giving away a third code, so make sure you use the hashtag #WeLoveDTM. So here we go then. Moritz Lohner is in P1, Hasse in P2, Siggy P3. They've got Fiducci in P4. Rashford now comes into the pits. All of the drivers that are indeed who've come into the pits here early are lapping very, very quickly indeed. Some of them as quick as the leaders right now. So this undercut is absolutely working right now. Krippner, I think, might have a nice little gap to work with on Siggy. Siggy will be bringing this car in, I would imagine, sooner rather than later, as soon as he hears that information. But again, has he got anyone in the server watching for him? I would imagine he does, and they'll be figuring stuff out here. I can't imagine he's doing this completely on his own. But right now, he's actually starting to lose time to the front two, isn't he? A little bit more now. He was at 4.8 seconds, or actually maybe the timing just going a bit all fuzzled.
Yeah, I mean, Moritz Lohner is at least as far as that last lap is concerned, he was about 0.2 of a second faster than Hasse, about 0.1 of a second faster than Siggy. So it was more of a scruffy lap for Hasse more than it was a fantastic lap for Siggy. But we'll see how this all files out. Siggy might be looking at, but we see
Lohner's in.
Yeah, Lohner is it. Actually,
is it Lohner that's coming to the pits, or is it Hasse?
Hasse, there we go.
Everyone's coming in. So Hasse's coming to the pits then. We've also got Fiducci, I think, who's just coming to the pits as well, just in behind. Yeah, the Fortilla Ferrari is just coming to the pits here. So those two have decided to come in. That means that indeed Lohner's going to be in the lead. Siggy will indeed take P2. And, well, I guess we'll see legitimately now, has Krippner managed to catch up here? Fiducci was behind them, was behind Krippner. But how much of a gap has he managed to pull here? Has Krippner been able to catch up in any time whatsoever? I know he's a good 5 seconds behind the leader, so you're not expecting him to be up ahead of Lohner, but you're expecting him to definitely close the gap.
His fast out lap, so the first lap that actually counts, was a 32 flat, and that was 0.4 of a second faster than Lohner's last lap time. So he is going very, very quickly indeed.
So this is brilliant here then for Krippner. He's played an absolute genius card here. So with Siggy staying out as long as he has done, this is going to make it very, very difficult for him to... Well, it's going to make it very, very difficult here for Siggy to get that podium spot as Florian Hasse comes out. And, well, how quick is Hasse going to be over the next couple of laps? Is Krippner, he's on the limit here as he tags the wall there. That's going to cost him a little bit of time. Again, Siggy did not come in on the last time round. Lohner, I would imagine, reacts here he has to, right? Surely he has to, because Hasser is obviously going to be faster for a good couple of laps, and he could ultimately take the lead of this race. So there's Krippner going through turn number 1. A drive-through penalty for Gianmarco Fiducci.
No.
Fiducci's got a drive-through penalty for speeding in the pit lane. He came into this championship here third. He was third position. He was third spot there for Team Fordzilla, 1 point behind second of Ottaviani. And that is going to kill his chances here as Kevin Siggy does come into the pits then. So Lona has stayed out here. Siggy into the pits. We are now going to see, has Krippner gained a bit of a gap? Remember, they were almost touching as they came in. Probably were touching, weren't they? As Krippner came into the pits, how close will they be? How far will Krippner be up the road? It's the bigger question, I would say.
Krippner's stop was very well timed, I will say that. And again, he took another 0.3 of a second at the leader the last time. So fresher tyres, certainly the desirable objects at the moment. Siggy down on towards the pit lane, of course, getting his fresher tyres for the end of the race. Same with Ottaviani as well. There's Morris Lona continuing out there, and Lona doesn't necessarily have to respond right away. He had a huge gap to at least to Siggy, and a pretty healthy one back to Hasser as well. So, I mean, Lona, you know, he can just take his sweet time to come to his decision whether or not to come down in and cover that off or not. It depends how much pressure he's feeling. He might even just try to actually just get to the halfway point, split this race 50-50.
Yeah, well, I guess so. That probably makes more sense. He had about 2.8 seconds to work with, maybe 3 seconds to work with. The longer he stays out, I think the more pressure he's going to be under, but he will be quick coming towards the end here. There is Kevin Siggy then, who comes out behind Hasser. And, Krippner's got him. Oh, no, Krippner's behind Hasser, sorry. But look how much he's closed up here. So he gained, what, 3 seconds?
Yeah.
I think. And Siggy, well, Siggy's pace just on the old tyres was quick enough for him to close that gap. I think he's probably going to catch these two up here if they start battling for position. But all of a sudden then, Krippner is battling for that second spot in this race. Potentially Kevin Siggy's going to get involved here for that battle as well. And if I'm Moritz Lerner, surely those two would be speaking to each other going, we're close on track here.
Yeah.
It might be worth you actually coming into the pits here and just making sure you're ahead of everybody. Although those two aren't going to be saying this specifically because they wouldn't mind him dropping behind them. I don't know what's going to go on here. Lona has to come into the pit, surely.
Yeah, I think so. There's only so long you can keep it going out there before you're going to be losing boatloads of time to those on fresher tyres. What was the last lap time for Lona? It was a 32.5. Krippner was invalid. Hasser, it was an outlap, so the only reference that we actually don't really have a reference in terms of how fast people are going back there, because Siggy is on his outlap as well. But either way, you know, you knew even before this lap that you were losing, what, 3-4 tenths of a second a lap back to fresher tyre competitors. You can only sustain that for so much, even when you had already a 2 or 3 second gap to the cars behind you. That's going to get gobbled up relatively quickly. So maybe even there's a little bit more pressure on Lona here. He does continue to stay out just one, well, at least one more. And we'll see. We'll see if that's a mistake or not. I think he's still fine for now, but much longer, then he's at risk of both Hasser, Krippner, and potentially Siggy in the two of both of them threatening him.
I think it's a mistake. He still will probably come out in the lead here, but I feel like you've got to back your ability to just go, look, do you know what? Let's make sure I've got track position here. Let's make sure that I'm out in front of everybody, and then I just back my ability. I've already won one race today. I can win another one. Yeah. It's not going to be a problem here. Even if I did come in now, it would have been 2 minutes off of a split. So it'd be 32 minutes or a plus 1 lap, let's say. So maybe 34 minutes on one set of tyres. The guys behind you are still going to be on older tyres at that stage of the race anyway. So I think if you're Lona, you have to come in next time, at the very least here. If you don't, then you're only really, and don't get me wrong, this is good for us watching at home, you're only really putting yourself in a position where you might lose the lead. Like right now, the only way you can guarantee that position is by coming into the pits, getting that fresh rubber on, and then just running to the end, done. Good job, happy birthday, and all that good stuff. But yeah, the longer you stay out right now, with them being half a second faster, it's the only way you can lose the lead here, apart from making a mistake. So, yeah, I would bring it in if I was him. Siggy, how close is Siggy to all of this now? Is he starting to catch up here as we got a race for the exit of the pit lane? There's Jack Keithley here currently. He has pit, by the way. He's up into P8. There's Siggy. So, Keithley is battling for 5th, I think, because of the Fiducci penalty. So Kiefer actually going to get a top 5 here if he sticks around where he is, which would be a massive result for him in the AMG. And I think the AMG is going to be good at Spa. So I think you're going to see that happen. And here it is. So Moritz Lerner finally does decide to come into the pits here, which, yeah, I think everybody's coming into the pits now, to be completely honest, as it stands. So now we'll see exactly how far. What was the gap? 2.8 seconds, was it, between him and Hasser?
It's something like that. Going to be a little bit closer coming off the pit lane, I would have thought, in this situation. Hasser, he did a 132 flat that last time. Lerner, well, he was averaging the mid 132s. So again, half a second, well, 4/10, half a second of lap being taken out. Here's Isaac Price. We haven't seen so much of Isaac Price in this series doing his typically long first stints. I'm glad they've seen a bit of a resurgence here, as he's going to continue on and get as many laps on that set of tyres as is theoretically possible. But Moritz Lerner coming off the pit lane now, he was pretty much splitting the difference 50-50.
Look how slow the pit exit is here.
Yeah.
So here we go.
So
it will feel so slow. And here we go then. He's got to get himself up to speed. Where is Florian Hasser? Where is Florian Hasser? Oh, he's going around turn 1. I think Hasser might have him here. I think Hasser, by the time they get to turn 2, it could be really close. Oh, it's not as close as I thought it was going to be. I got overexcited there. But no, Moritz Lerner is going to hold on to the lead here with fresher tyres as well. But ultimately, the gap has come down. Gap has definitely come down here, not by as much as we may have thought. Moritz Lerner has played an absolute blinder, if we're going to be completely honest in this situation. Front 4 have kind of separated a little bit here. Krippner not able to hang with a pace here of Florian Hasser, and it's really now all about Siggy. Can Siggy close that gap and maybe battle for that podium?
Yeah, that's the situation we have. Krippner trying to maintain inside a second to Hasser. That will give him at least the tail end of the slipstream here, and we'll keep him a little bit safer from Kevin Siggy behind. But you know, trying to maintain that for another 27 minutes is a different issue for sure. We're still yet to see 2 drivers come on towards the pit lane. That is Isaac Price and Florian Bodin. Both of those guys have not come down in just yet. Isaac Price basically just logging lead laps at the moment, and well, Bodin, he is on the pit lane now, so that means that Isaac Price will be the last man standing with regards to the pit stops here today. And well, again, like I said, it's pretty typical for Price to be pushing these stints out as far as possible.
Yeah, he loves it, doesn't he? He loves having a lap lead under his belt, which, yeah, well, to be fair, throughout his career, he's used to leading from the front right at the beginning. He's that good. He's won multiple competitions that way, obviously. Pajic is having a very good second half of his race here, if I'm going to be completely honest. He's right behind Alexander Dorniden. These two are very similar in terms of their style as well. They're right in behind each other, so can Pajic potentially make a move here? Down towards turn number 2, and you can see there, Pajic forces Dorniden to go very, very defensive there with that number 69, nice BMW. And Pajic, again, not quite able to close up enough here and make that move, of course. Pajic there with his arms crossed there, serious sim racer, of course. Everybody knows that you gain half a second a lap if you cross your arms in your shot for a picture. And Marco Pajic is absolutely delivering that as it stands. But he wants that top 10. Isaac Price, where does he come out in all of this? I think he's battling for around about 8th position. He would have lost a lot of time. Dorniden has been flying since he indeed got that fresh set of rubber on his car. So I think Price may be looking to battle with those two. I think he might be in and around that kind of battle. It remains to be seen if that is the case here. But Dorniden, after changing those tyres, is absolutely flying. He's off to chase down Otto Viani. Otto Viani, of course, looking to try and get or keep into that top 5. But as it stands, yeah, Dorniden doing a very good job indeed.
It's not been too shabby, has it? Able to maintain this P2 back to Pajic at the moment, despite the threats. And well, it's a little bit easier when you consider it is a BMW versus a Mercedes. But even getting rid of that point, Pajic, a tough driver to keep behind you. But again,
they all are.
I mean, they all are. I mean,
that's why we're talking about it, Connery.
Everything I say is relative, okay?
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, yes, in any normal session, if you met these guys in a random official ranked race, they're going to be pretty much impossible to try and keep behind you if you're just an average sim racer. Let's just say that. Either way, well, Isaac Price, he's down in.
There we go. Isaac Price comes in. So I think he's going to come out in a battle for around about P10, Dorniden and Pajic. Maybe just a bit behind them, in between Pajic and Hugveld. But again, remains to be seen exactly where he comes out. While he is in his pit stop here, we have got one more DTM 2021 code to give away on Race Room, ladies and gentle cars. So if you do indeed race on Race Room and you haven't got the pack yet, this includes all of the cars and all of the liveries as well. All you need to do is head over to Twitter, use the hashtag #WeLoveDTM. So that's all you got to do is use the hashtag #WeLoveDTM. Is there bonus points for you showing me your favorite car? Absolutely. You know, just because I like looking at cars. Maybe you want to show me who your favorite driver is. Maybe who your favorite commentator is. Connery is pretty good. But yeah, just use the hashtag #WeLoveDTM on Twitter, and I'll be picking the final winner at the end of, well, just after this race finishes. 23 minutes, 40 seconds to go. The battle for the podium. We did ask for it. We wished for it. We are absolutely seeing it there. As we see Isaac Price coming out the pits, he's still got about 40 miles. It'll feel like about 40 miles before he can indeed turn that pit limiter off and indeed go up to speed here. So he's going to lose a fair few positions. We come down towards turn number 2. Again, there's Isaac Price, and he will get going now. He's dropped behind Dorniden. He's dropped behind Pajic. He's going to be in between Pajic and Hugveld. I tell you what, Connery, it's not very often when I get something right, but when I do, I will post about it. That's exactly where I said I'm out, and that's exactly where he is.
Yeah, I'm pretty much equidistant between the two as well. I'm kind of impressed how you've been able to get that so right. Hugveld, of course, preoccupied a little bit because he's got Axel Vermeulen in his wing mirrors, and a further battle behind, doors out as well between Nagy and Digne. And we also got Rudinger as well in the BMW, the third party in on this one, bearing down on them. So race starting to come to life now. I did say we'll get a little bit more excitement in the second stint.
Oh, I love Arnage Competitions liveries.
Yeah.
I think the pink is just... Oh, I love a bit of hot pink, ladies and gentlemen. I've got many a thong that are hot pink. That is a beautiful car there. Right there, Rouge on the side. Looking to potentially make some moves here. So this is Rudinger trying to make a move for what will be P15. You have to sweep around the outside if you want to get it stuck here. It's going to be tough to hold on to this. And the overlap closes as quick as it opened there. Attila Digne, and one of the... it looks young in the picture, but one of the older hats there as well. Okay. Let's get back on board with that there, as we do see it back. Oh, no, let's stick on this. This is for P3. Rudinger was trying to make an opportunity there for himself. He tried to force it. It nearly pulled off, but I think Digne is just about going to hold on there. But this is the battle for P3. So we've got Leonard Krippner then currently in the P3 as it stands, and Kevin Siggy's going to go deep under braking. Not sure it's going to quite work out here. It's kind of there's not really much of a pinch point through there. It's really nice and open on the exit, but if you do run out wide through turn 2, on the exit of turn 2, it tightens up through 3 and 4. But you can use it to your advantage there, just like Krippner did. He ran the car out nice and wide. I mean, Siggy can't then go and sweep it around the outside because he's going to run deep anyway because he's braking later. And, well, Krippner is going to hold on to the position. But I tell you what, he's had a lot of practice of holding on to this position from Siggy. So, yeah, he's bound to have used all that experience or something.
Yeah, the on board with Siggy here is interesting because we might have an accident at the back. We do. Leon Rudinger has had a big issue. He was embroiled in that battle with Nagy and Digne ahead. Something must have happened in and amongst that grouping. Unfortunately, we're unable to do replays here, so we won't be getting another view, or even our first view of it. But Rudinger toes back to the pit lane as well, so he's going to be logged as a DNF from this event. And, well, he's certainly not alone. Rodriguez, Fiducci, Markovic, Rana, and Pliska are all also DNF. Well, Pliska disqualified technically, as you can see on the left.
It didn't look like there was a lot of damage to the car there, so I think that's a silly decision. Like, P21 gets points, right? But he was currently battling for P16 or P15, so I just think you've got to stay out there, to be honest. Anyway, battle for P3. Krippner versus Siggy, part 77. We head down towards turn number 2. Siggy again, is he going to look for a lunge here? He's not, and actually, Krippner has forced him to not be able to do this, and this is now the opportunity for Siggy. Sweeping it around the outside is a very advantageous position to be in, but you have the outside line going in towards 4. Nearly worked out there for Siggy, but look at this. Siggy now trying to force that nose up the inside of that BMW. Not, again, quite close enough to force the issue, as we now head down towards this very, very long sweeping right-handed hairpin. And you can see here, Siggy's made this move before by exactly this, making Krippner run out wide, then forcing out nose up the inside on the exit. He's done it once again. He's slipped the rear of the car once again, and Krippner holds firm once again.
Does Siggy trying to pull out every single trick in the book. Another defensive line being taken by Kripner. Siggy might be able to find the line up underneath, but unsuccessful this time around. This is a lot of pressure piling onto the back of Kripner as Siggy tries to get himself a good run into this final sector. This is where the Ferrari is so strong, especially on the fresher tyres that Siggy has compared to Kripner. Look at him, he's all over the back of him, and he's got a monster of a run coming out of the final corner.
Superb run here around that final corner. He absolutely sized up his opportunity with a mere couple of corners to go here. But a BMW with that poke in a straight line. There's no slipstream to work with here for Siggy. But indeed, the BMW is going to be offline. A little bit of contact as they come then through turn number 1. And now the BMW has to get a punchy exit here. They have to let off the gas ever so slightly through there, which means the BMW should be able to fight back here. Siggy is going to go defensive really early here. And Kripner needs to force him onto the apex. And I'll tell you what, it's done deal, isn't it? Kevin Siggy has absolutely nailed it. They're both going to be slow on the exit here because Siggy runs out of road, but ultimately he does get the job done. It's taken him half a lap. Well, actually, to be fair, it took him a full lap, didn't he? He tried setting it up through turn number 2, and ultimately that's what set off the domino effect in terms of being offline for Kripner. Siggy asserting his dominance in this championship, makes it back up to P3, and in all fairness, judging by the pace of Lerner and Hasser, this is really the maximum he could have asked for in race 1 and race 2, and he's going to get the maximum here. He will be our championship leader if he doesn't make a mistake from now until the end. This is a championship. This is a champion's drive this week for Siggy. With only 3 days left to go before the next round at Spa, he is looking absolutely golden. He's in top form. Yeah,
and we haven't really talked all that much about the short time frame between now and the next round. There's only 3 days for you to, well, a bit less than that if you're talking in terms of hours, for you to try and prepare for that. For the next race. Of course, it is Spa-Francorchamps, which every sim racer knows like the back of their hands. Even I know how to get around there relatively quickly, which cannot be said for any other circuit. So I guess that works in their favor, given that it's such a popular circuit. But you know, such a tiny amount of time to try and prepare for those races. Remember, these guys usually have about 2 weeks to try and prepare for the next event. So we'll have to see how that changes things with the limited preparation time.
Yeah, 100%. That's going to make things very interesting this Sunday. So again, if you didn't know, for the first time, we're going to be heading to a couple of rounds on a Sunday. So this Sunday evening, same time as usual, so 6 p.m. BST, as we see a battle here. Alexander Dorniden then with a lot of pressure behind him, with Marco Payet. It's going to be 3 wide in towards turn number 2. Isaac Price would love to sweep around both of them here. Dorniden gets, well, caught there on the bonnet of Payet. They used to be teammates as well at Veloce, and Isaac Price then forces Dorniden onto the curb, which means Dorniden's not going to be able to get the power down. Oh, Isaac Price, roll back the years. It's a double move here then for Price. He moves from 11th to 9th. Connery, that was delicious.
That was incredible. That was awesome there. Just perfect positioning from Isaac Price. Perfect line through that chicane. You have such limited space when you're 3 wide through there. You don't know what those 2 cars on the inside are going to do. Oh, Dorniden, big moment up over the curb there, kicking up a whole bunch of dirt. Now coming under threat from Payet into the next corner, but very well played there from Isaac Price. It relies on a certain amount of trust on those 2 cars on the inside not to wash up into your line when they're going 3 wide. Oh, Dorniden just gets completely mugged by Payet there, but he's able to respond and get back past.
Yeah, these two are getting no love lost, that's for sure. They raced together at Veloce, but look who they've brought into play now. Hugveld, who was in the top 5 position, in 4th position coming into this week, and he's fallen out of the top 5 now. And even if he overtakes the 3 cars in front of him, he will still fall out of that top 5. And they got Vermeulen as well. Vermeulen was battling in that top 10. He's currently looking to try and keep hold of that top 10. He's 13th position. And with Dorniden and Payet absolutely going for it like this, there's every reason to suggest there might be a couple of freebie positions going on. We see Payet then underneath that rear wing of the BMW punching a huge elephant-sized hole in the air here for Payet. Again, around the outside, he's taken a leaf out of Isaac Price's book, goes very deep under braking, realizes there's no gap to actually go into, had to slam the brakes on. Now under a lot of pressure here from the R8G driver of the Hugveld Swede, then very close in behind them. We've got Vermeulen, Belgian, in that TX3 green and charcoal grey livery, and actually not far behind then is David Nagy as well. There is always a Hungarian. That's how it works in sim racing. There is always a Hungarian, and here he is. Lona still leading the way, 3.1 seconds, stretching his legs out beautifully well here. It is Hatter in second, Siggy in third, Krippner dropping back now in fourth position. Keithley, haven't spoken a lot about him today, but 2 really good performances in the AMG. Rashford, Pfeiffer are your top 7, and Ottaviani, and then is this Price, who's now actually forced a fair few seconds between him already and Dorneyden. Dorneyden leads this pack with Payet just in behind in that AMG, the white AMG there, and the car we're on board with then is Hookveld in that Ferrari with Vermeulen. So this 4-way battle is for a top 10, as Isaac Price has stretched his legs here. But ultimately, it looks like they've all now got a little bit of a gap between each other. Michael Rashford definitely doesn't right now, because he's got Pfeiffer right in behind him as they come through turn number 1, and as they now run down in towards turn number 2. 2 AMGs fighting for it together here. This is always nice to see. But look at this effective slipstream down towards 2. Not quite close enough to make a move here, and it will pretty much be a procession for the remainder of this lap. And it's really all about getting out that final corner, punching out, getting a nice run through 1, and then trying to make a move around the outside in 2.
Yeah, that seems to be the strategy that the drivers are taking when it comes to a potential overtake. Sweeping via on the outside of the chicane. Typically, the big one, of course, we saw Siggy try and do sort of a force to the inside through the final sector that then he can try and capitalize by taking by nipping underneath and things like that. But again, limited opportunities here, it seems, especially if you have a difference in terms of the manufacturers. But between the 2 Mercedes, you would have thought things would be a little bit more fair between those 2. Looking back though, Dorneyden, Payet, Hookveld, Vermeulen involved in this one now. Vermeulen, well, 13th at the moment. The 3rd highest placed Ferrari, which I guess sounds better than 13th, right?
It does sound a lot better than 13th there, Connery. I'm not going to lie. Let's put a smile on my face.
Well, he's not 3rd, but he's 4th now. But yeah.
No, that's rubbish then. That's worse than 13th.
I've completely butchered that.
I will say one thing though. I love how this race has developed in terms of the talent on screen, because Siggy, who ultimately is probably the fastest out there, was looking to make the move up the inside of turn 2 every single time in race 1 and at the start of race 2. But it's developed that people have realised actually go around the outsides faster. You'd think these drivers would know that coming into this, but that's just how races develop, right? You have to also, you've got to appreciate that the other driver is a talented driver in front of you, and you have to force something that's maybe not as comfortable for them. So yeah, it's really nice to see that that's coming to fruition. In the real world of racing, the most overtakes do come from around the outside. I've commentated here a couple of times now, and it is around the outside of turn number 2. So yeah, it's quite common, but the sim racers kind of figured it out a little bit later as they were all trying to run it up the inside. And you see here, Vermeulen got really close there to Hookveld and ultimately wasn't able to take full advantage. Now dropped back a little bit further. And even though Payet and Dorneyden are pretty much, if there was, it's like a metaphor, it's like a sim racing metaphor for a fight, fist fight between the 2 of them as it stands. Even though they're fighting like they are and door banging, they have gapped these 2 Ferraris here, so the 2 Ferraris may be starting to struggle for their tyre wear. With 11 minutes to go, Connery, tyres now are going to be a huge factor.
Yeah, they are. I mean, those early stoppers are really going to be struggling now to the end of this race. I mean, we've seen tyre-affected races already. I mean, just look at Imola with how the tyre strategy was instrumental in terms of how that race ended up. And well, these are very, very long stints on the tyres. Of course, it is a GT3 racing. It's kind of just a normal stint. An hour stint is not too big of a problem for them. But when you've been driving them pretty much 110% ever since they come off the pit lane, then it does tend to take a little bit more out of the tyres than you would like, and the car starts fishtailing around a little bit. Even though GT3s do have traction control, we've seen our fair share so far this season of cars getting all sorts of out of shape in the traction zones. So keep a lookout for that in the final 10 minutes.
Yeah, for sure. Again, 2 Ferraris here battling for position, being Hookveld and Vermeulen. Just in behind this battle here. There we go, almost side by side. And now they've got a 3rd one joining them as well. Again, the Hungarian Nagy just in behind for Mirror Esports. We head then the long run down towards that sweeping right-hand hairpin, cambered corner as well. So there are a couple of lines you can take here. We've seen, again, Krippner being able to defend a move from being on the outside. We've also seen him lose a position from being on the outside. The inside line is also just as quick as we, again, come through there, down in towards the final complex of corners before we head onto that long straight through turn number 1 and indeed down in towards turn number 2. Siggy, I felt like might have been under a little bit of pressure there from Krippner. It was 0.6 of a second, the gap between the two of them. Yeah, Siggy has just not had the pace to really close in on the front two here. And I'm wondering if Krippner might have a little bit of a late charge here for that potential P3, shall I say, the podium. Make it Esports 1, 2, 3. Red lines driver Siggy ruining that as it stands. On board then with P6, battling with P7. Pfeiffer still very, very close. But Ottaviani realistically needs these two positions to try and indeed hold on to his top 5. Remember, top 5 in this championship will indeed head to a DTM event this year and be assessed as to whether who is going to be. Oh, it's a very late lunge here by Ottaviani. He's gone for the inside route here, and actually, with a little bit of help with a touch of contact there, is going to hold on to that position. That's actually a really nice move, and he has taken full advantage here. Pfeiffer kind of being caught looking at the rear of Rashford. He's been behind Rashford for lap after lap after lap, and he probably wasn't even really expecting anything from behind because he was too focused on where he could make a move going forward. And ultimately, there you go, Ottaviani moves up the Italian. I think he might have. Well, he's battling here with Rashford, I think, as well. Yes, he is. So already making his move up towards Rashford. Side by side, he's going to be sent out on the exit here. And it's AMG power versus Ferrari power. The Ferrari will have the inside line for the next corner. He's last of the late breakers here as well. Seems like he's going to be able to break so much later here than the AMGs. And absolutely, in the late stages of this race, picking up very vital points to hold on to that potential top 5 in the championship. The championship is going to have changed, that's for sure, the look of it by the end of this race. But has Ottaviani done enough here to potentially keep himself in there? He was in the top 3 of the championship. You can see he has absolutely got no traction on exit. Seems to be able to get the car stopped, but getting the power down seems a bit of a struggle. But I think everybody's in the same boat as it stands. It's still Lerner that leads here. It's still Hasser in second, still Siggy in third, Krippner in fourth. Keithley just on his own, just doing his thing. P5, a really good performance from him. And again, a couple more of these kind of performances, you do start to ask the question of, yeah, he can absolutely get into that top 5. He's someone that if you get to the final 2 races and you give him a chance, he's got all the experience in the world. If you've got a couple of drivers that are maybe not as experienced about getting across the line, getting into those winning positions in championships, the last person you want clipping at your heels is Jack Keithley, so he will absolutely be in and amongst it. Christopher Hoogveld, then we've had 3 race winners so far this season. Moritz Lerner's got himself 2, Kevin Siggy's got himself 2, and Christopher Hoogveld has got himself 1. Currently down to P13 as it stands, battling here with Nagy. He has absolutely got nothing left here, has he? He is really struggling. The Hungarian looking to get back up into sort of P13 range. The other 3 cars who are ahead of this battle are just pulling away. And Hoogveld is just a bit of a shadow of his former self, although he got a win this week in the ADAC GT Masters again, didn't he? He was performing exceptionally well in that and just not quite got the pace today with DTM Esports.
Yeah, it's been a bit of a weird one, Hoogveld, in recent times, because his performance has dropped off a little bit in the ADAC series, and also not as great of a showing here in the DTM as it was before. So maybe it was just the first couple of months of 2022 where Hoogveld was really getting into the groove. But now, as we're in April now, things have fallen off a little bit for him. I don't know whether that's him falling off and him coming towards the end of a good run, or it's everyone else stepping up that level. That's one of those things that's very, very hard to tell. But for Hoogveld, he's hoping that it wasn't a temporary thing and he can actually return back to that early year form where he was absolutely incredible, getting things stuck in at the very front of the field. But for right now, P13, yeah, I mean, it's sort of more 2021 Hoogveld than 2022.
Yeah, it's a bit of a shame. But again, he's still showing flashes of brilliance. To have a win with this unbelievable grid is exceptional in itself. So, yeah, absolutely not saying that he's done and dusted this year for sure. But again, today's just been a bit of a drop-off in performance considering what we were seeing from him last time out a couple of weeks ago at the Lausitzring. And just really, he was trying his level best now to hold on to P13. As we see Alessandro Ottaviani, nice bit of a gap to work with here. Could he potentially catch up to Jack Keithley? Is Keithley going to lose enough time? It's like 4 seconds in what will be around about 4 laps, I think. Maybe even 5 laps, actually, by the time they cross. No, it will be 4 laps, I think. It's going to be very, very difficult for Ottaviani to grab any extra positions, I would say. I think it's pretty set, our final positions, unless there's a mistake we saw actually last week from our championship leader, Siggy, who is arguably one of the best sim racers in the world at anything he touches. He was capable of making a mistake in race 1 last week, cost himself a race victory, which actually handed it to Hugveld, didn't it? So yeah, we may still see a mistake from these drivers, but as it stands, it's still Lerner, Hasse, Siggy, Krippner and Keithley as your top 5, and Ottaviani here. I think this is a really good performance considering they're qualifying down in P12. Was Ottaviani P12? Could have been P10. It was a double-figure number to gain those positions. You know, you're under pressure to keep hold of that top 5. I think that's a very, very good performance. And I think if he does manage to get top 5, he'll be looking at this week thinking, yeah, do you know what? Damage limitation. I did well that week to really push myself towards that top 5 and those prizes.
Yeah, it's always a tough one. There's damage limitation. There's now an element of damage limitation coming into today, I think, for Alessandro Ottaviani, especially with that poor Q2 performance. Well, he was given a task. He's done the task pretty well, like you said, up into P6. So, again, I don't think you can get any more than that. That's 3.5 seconds back to further forward to Keithley at the moment. So it looks like, if anything, he's probably going to remain there as long as Rashford and Kiefer stay about 0.3 of a second behind. We still got this close battle, though, between Hugveld and Nagy, which has been raging on for a little while now. Hugveld, of course, he's on his own sort of damage limitation strategy for this race, as he hasn't been on the ball whatsoever. And, you know, another place lost to Nagy, potentially, would just be another nail in the coffin with regards to the points order. I think coming into this, he was 4th place, 101 points, not all that far behind Ottaviani and Fiducci. Yeah, this is kind of a race to forget for him.
Yeah, coming into this week, Kevin Siggy led with 53-point advantage over Ottaviani. Fiducci was in 3rd position. Fiducci's a DNF here. It's going to be 0 points for this race. And the first race, I can't remember where he finished actually in the first race. Moritz Lerner was 5th in the championship. He was behind Hugveld, who was 4th. But Moritz Lerner is going to, by the looks of things, get a double win here today, which is huge. It's going to close the gap, not to Siggy, but I think he will take P2 in the championship after today. Actually, it'd be quite easy as well as Vermeulen here making a move potentially on Dorniden. Dorniden, wow, not leaving enough room. I think if that's looked at, that will be an absolute slam dunk penalty for Dorniden. He did not leave him any room, and now Pajic is doing exactly the same. Poor Vermeulen here is being used like a beach ball here. That's not fair at all. So I think Dorniden, I know these drivers are on the limit of their tyres, but I think that's I think that's a little bit naughty from both of those drivers. I think Pajic less so, because I don't think there's much choice he had in the matter. But yeah, Vermeulen's going to have every reason to be a little bit annoyed with that. But yeah, Siggy came in with a 53-point advantage over Ottaviani and Fiducci. Fiducci was 1 point behind Ottaviani. So with Fiducci not having a race finish in this race, it's going to kill his chances of a top 5, really. Hugveld was P4. He's not had a good day today. The big surprise is Florian Hasse, who's currently 6th position. He's going to get a double second today. So I think he's actually going to move up to 3rd in the championship. And Moritz Lerner, I think, is going to take 2nd spot. They will close the gap to Siggy ever so slightly. I still think it's going to be a good 55-point advantage for Siggy going into the second half of this season. So Siggy's in a great spot, but Lerner and Hasse have just genuinely put themselves in a good spot. I think Krippner's going to move up into a top 5 as well. So I think Krippner might be 5th position. I think it's going to be Fiducci and Hugveld are going to drop out. Again, we will get the points for you at the end of this broadcast, I would like to think. But yeah, looking very, very interesting indeed. As Axel Vermeulen then is going to try and retake the position down towards turn number 2. The outside line is the favoured line of choice, but he's actually... Oh, dear. Oh, dear. That's when you try to look really clever and try and do a fake move and you absolutely bottle it and you just chuck someone off the circuit. That was interesting there. You can see what he was trying to do. He was trying to be clever. He was trying to be driver of the year. And ultimately, he's ended up being 0 of the year. That was not...
That was embarrassing, I will say. Pajic is continuing out there, trying to keep things going. Vermeulen, you know, he's still P13, but albeit a very damaged Ferrari as well. That is not how you would wanted that to end. Not what either of those drivers would have wanted it to end. Not how we would have wanted it to end either. We were looking at a pretty good battle there. Yeah, that is just very, very unfortunate. Big incident as well. Huge impact with the barrier. I mean, that would have been pretty much the end of the race if that happened in the real world and we had red flags and things like that. But we do not. And we've got 30 seconds to go at the moment. There's Moritz Lerner. He's been, well, really alone at the front of this field, at least for the vast majority of the second half at this event. He's got a 6-second advantage back to Florian Hasse, and this is the final lap.
I saw Tim Heinemann get absolutely cleaned out of that corner in real life. And do you know what? I forgot that I was a real-life commentator at that point. So because I've been doing sim racing for so long, I just assumed it's sim racing. So instantly I'm like, oh my God, that's unbelievable. And then I was like, hold on, they're real drivers. They might not be okay.
Yeah.
So instantly I was like, oh no, what's going on here? Like the Aston Martin, it was a KTM that wiped them out by missing his braking point. I think it was a brake failure in the end. And Tim Heinemann got hit so hard in an Aston Martin, it ripped his driver door off.
Högfeldt.
It was the...
Högfeldt spins
no.
under pressure from David Nagy, and he's going to lose a bunch more positions and more crucial points as Lohner rounds the final corner.
Yeah, bad day for Högfeldt. A really good day, though, for Moritz Lerner. He is our DTM Esports current champion. He's the reigning champion, and he had a bad week last time out at the Lausitzring, but today it's a double win for Moritz Lerner. He's got the number 1 on his car. He is number 1 today here at the Lausitzring. Incredible performance. Florian Hasse as well, a double P2 for him. And Kevin Siggy's a double P3 for him. Krippner will pick up P4 here as well. Jack Keithley, not been in our screens all that often today, but he is the lead driver outside of the BMW Ferrari manufacturers, and they have been the 2 fastest today for sure. He will pick up a P5. Ottaviani, this is a damage limitation week, and he absolutely has limited the damage today with that P6. Great from him. His qualifying wasn't great. Rashford then is going to be in P7. Pfeiffer is going to be in P8. We've then got Isaac Price in P9 with move of the day, a double overtake down in towards turn number 2. Alexander Dorniden then will finish in P10 in at number 69. Nice. Nagy then is in 11th position for Malin in 12th. We've then got Högfeldt and Dinya in 13th and 14th. Mosin, Pajic, we've got in 17th position. Well, we're about to find out here. Here's your official results then. So Moritz Lerner does take P1. Florian Hasse does indeed take P2. Kevin Siggy does indeed take P3. So congratulations to those 3. That is your podium. Krippner, Keithley, Ottaviani, Rashel, Pfeiffer, Isaac Price and Alexander Dorniden are your top 10. We've then got David Nagy, Vermeulen, Högfeldt, Dinya, Mosin, Pajic, Fox, Peringa. We've then got Bodin and Whitvet as your top 20. A lot of DNFs here. Rudinger, Rodriguez, Fiducci, Markovic, and Wanner are DNFs. And then we have Pliska, who was DQ'd before we even got going. Wow. Okay. What a race, Connery. The front 3, again, Moritz Lerner. It was indeed Hasse and Siggy. Those 3 were the stars of the field today. They didn't look like they were being beaten. Krippner gave it his absolute best. He tried a different alternate strategy to everyone else. It nearly worked out, but Siggy proving that the Ferrari probably didn't quite have the pace today in terms of the BMWs, but still able to get 2 huge results. And Moritz Lerner, well, he's back on top.
Yeah, the resurgence of Moritz Lerner, shall we say, definitely back to where we know he's capable of being at the very, very front of these races. It was a relaxed day, I think, for Lerner. The only real drama that he had was perhaps things getting a little bit closer than we thought in the pit stops, but then again, he had the fresher tires for the end. He was able to pull away, so it ended up just not being a problem. And when you have a day where your worst drama is they got almost within a second, I think you've had a pretty good one.
Yeah, absolutely. Could not agree with you more there. We are going to have the official standings for you very, very shortly. Remember, if you want to win yourself a DTM 2021 Race Room pack, courtesy of Race Room, again, thank you to those for giving us some codes to give away today. Head to Twitter, #WeLoveDTM. Just do #WeLoveDTM. Maybe tell me who your favorite driver is of all time, and I will pick a winner after this little commercial break.
Auto Hero ist dein Online-Shop für Gebrauchtwagen. Wir verkaufen nur Autos aus unserem eigenen Bestand. Jedes ist von unseren Kfz-Experten general überholt und rundum aufbereitet. Und du erhältst 1 Jahr Garantie. So unbeschwert kann Autokauf sein. Finde jetzt dein Auto bei Auto Hero.
Welcome back then, ladies and gentlemen. Here is the calendar for the rest of the season. We are just about to show you what the results are for today, or the championship standing, should I say. We've already done Imola, we've done the Norris Ring. Today we've done the Lausitzring. We've only got a 3-day turnaround, and we head to Spa-Francorchamps on Sunday evening. So make sure that you're around 6 p.m. on Sunday evening, BST. And if you're in Europe, it is 7 p.m. If you're in America, it's at some point in the afternoon. Yeah, great times. It should be good. So yeah, make sure you use the hashtag #WeLoveDTM all on the social media. Winner of our giveaway, the final giveaway, will be Wooter Girl Pino. So if you could send me a DM on Twitter at ActRollVision, I will get that sent to you. They sent me a picture of a DTM race starting. The picture isn't quite close enough for me to see exactly where it is, but yeah, they sent me a nice picture there. So using the hashtag #WeLoveDTM, thank you so much to Race Room for giving away some codes during this as well. Anyway, you guys are sick to death of hearing me. Now it's time to see exactly how the championship looks after 6 races this season. We're at the midway point. Fastest lap award goes to Moritz Lerner with a 1:31.599. That is super, super quick. But look at this then. Kevin Siggy leads the way with 220 points, but the gap is now only 45 points to Moritz Lerner. Florian Hasser moves up to 3rd position on 155. Alessandro Ottaviani is on 149, and Gianmarco Fiducci holds on to that top 5 with 130. Leonard Krippner has announced himself in this championship today with a couple of massive results, has moved himself up into P6 here. Hoogveld drops out of that top 5. Jack Keithley, a couple of results away from maybe pushing towards that top 5. And I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen, if you are not used to being in the top of a championship and you're not used to getting across that finish line, having someone like Jack Keithley ready and waiting to take advantage of your mistakes, he is the driver you do not want to be there, that's for sure. Isaac Price, he is in P9, very similarly to Jack Keithley. They are twins, of course. And then we've got Adam Pinches. There's always a Hungarian. So that is your standings. We are back on Sunday night for the next one for the DTM Esports 2022. I've been Luke Crane. Connery, I hope you've had as much fun as I have. You've been superb to work with. And, well, we are going to see you all on Sunday, aren't we?